No, no more! That's it! I don't care! I didn't care anymore. I didn't care about being better than Kakarot. I didn't care about being a Super Saiyan. I didn't care if I lived. I didn't care about anything. And then it happened.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? SantaC here, back with Jun for another KCM cast. We're starting off here on a retro. It's going to be Rush versus... I don't even know what this name is, but we're going into game number 1. Let's get it started.
자, 토크즈라고 읽어야 되나요? 146290번째 팬 가입 감사하고요. 이게
Alright, I will bring up our lineup. And there it is, Sins versus Rush. Gonna be game number 1 with Sins down here in the bottom left hand corner, Rush in the bottom right. Our lineup for today looking beastly with the Sulky Soma Jaedong. That is a crazy Zerg lineup.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. Love to see Jaedong here. Nice to see a return from Sins as well. He did get a little bit dispatched a bit too easily in some of those other games, I feel like, so it would be nice to see him come back and maybe take a game off the likes of Rush. I mean, you need to put some points on this Protoss board. They've just been flatlining this KCM so far, so.
Yeah, the question on everybody's mind here is going to be, will Protoss ever get a point this season? It's not looking good for them so far.
Not at all. We do have Mini and Shuttle as well in the lineup. Mini, very strong mechanical player. Shuttle also pretty stellar, but not quite up to the same caliber as some of these other players, so they're going to have their work cut out for him, I feel.
Yeah, with Sharp on Terran as well, that's looking like a sick lineup. Sharp probably the weakest player out of the three, but has shown some really great games in KCM as of late.
Yeah, he's a very strong player, and he's got very good Wraith Micro as well, which you might be able to pull out against some of these stronger Zerg players, maybe to disrupt them in the early game.
Yeah, when I think of Sharp, I mostly think of his Terran versus Protoss, but he is still a very strong TVZ player. That might be the matchup that's holding him back, though.
Yeah, he might have a hard time against this lineup. It's extremely strong, and Sulky's a fantastic macro player. Soma, not much needs to be said about him. He's pretty much exceptional in all regards. Jaedong, the Beast, the Donger, very aggressive Zerg, very strong mechanically, still maintaining his caliber with his experience over the years. In these situations, going to be a lot more cool and collected and able to make decisions that he needs to win the game.
Yeah, Jaedong, a fan favorite. Go ahead and put a comment down below if Jaedong's your favorite player. I know a lot of you guys love him, and I'm so excited to have him back in the lineup here for ASL as well as KCM. He's been putting out some great games and improving every single time we see him.
Yeah, he's really seemed to be coming back into his element, at least for the time being. Certainly going to be aging a little bit, not having the exact same kind of level of mechanics with his hands as he once would. I've seen him micro 2 stacks of meters rather exceptionally. I don't think we'll be seeing anything too crazy out of him, but such a strong player as himself, still going to be putting out a lot of pressure on these younger, more veteran players coming up in the ranks.
Yeah, it's gotta be tough when you see Jaedong in the lobby to play at your very best, to keep your nerves calm. This guy is such a legend. He's been around forever. He's won so many different tournaments. It's really gonna be hard to keep your head on straight in that situation. And look at this. The probe and the SCV just barely not able to see each other as they cross paths there, and both players going to be heading in other directions. Look, this is a cross scout with Rush now heading up to the top right. He's going to scout this at the absolute latest possible time.
Yeah, it's actually really unfortunate because Rush actually took the long distance away to the top right hand side. He didn't go through the 12 o'clock, he went around into the middle, so it's actually kind of lucky for him that they didn't meet in the middle.
And now he's going to be finally figuring out where his opponent Sins is and sending that SCV down, but it's unlikely he'll get any more information than that the Nexus has been thrown down. Back at home for the Terran. Double factory follow-up here to this quick expand.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to be wanting to pull the trigger on punching this. There's not a second gateway, so he might want to pull the trigger and pull the boys on this. It's possible. I mean, with only the one gateway production, and it's going to be a very low unit count as well out of Sins. I mean, it definitely is a window here. You're going to be seeing that robotic support bay thrown down. But there is a one unit at the front, so I don't think we're going to be seeing any kind of crazy aggression out of Rush. I feel like he's just going to smack her up and maybe do a bit of a delayed push here, maybe sometime around 8 to 10 minutes. Be a 5 factory push, we'll have to see.
Yeah, throwing down the eBay here means that he's likely to go for a more defensive play. It's also good to note that Rush doesn't have any information about the gateway count at this moment. He's just playing off of the knowledge that he's seen so far, which is just a couple of Dragoons and a Nexus. That's all he knows. And so he'll have to cover his bases with turrets around the base. You know, it could be a DT play, it could be a drop, it could be a DT drop, it could be a Reaver drop. We just don't know what's coming here, so we're gonna have to play safe. And so far, Rush seeing just 2 Dragoons out here. He knows that it's not a really quick 2 gateway with the range, so he knows that he should be worried about some sort of shuttle play coming in here shortly.
Yeah, oh look, a little dive on this tank. Only 3 Dragoons though. You need 4 Dragoons for 2 shots tank. Going to go in for a second time, taking that tank down to just being 2 shot. So you're gonna have to repair that up. Is Rush forcing out even more repair while shaving off the HP of his Dragoons. Looks like we're going to be having a 3-gate ops expand out of Sin. So basically the most safest build order you can take in TVP. So not really going to be ahead economically or anything, but certainly going to be extremely safe against whatever Rush decides to do.
This is not the kind of style I was expecting out of Sins. I thought that he would be feeling some pressure to try and deal some damage to Rush here in the early game, but as it stands, Rush is just going to get a couple missile turrets here. He's going to be completely safe, and we'll see what he wants to do in terms of throwing down more factories or going for an expansion. Right now, he's moving out with just 4 Marines and 2 tanks, rallying up 3 tanks and rallying vultures. Do you think he can get any damage done with this?
No. If we didn't have what we have from the Protoss, if he was going, say, like 2-gate, maybe there's some pressure he can put on here, but with the 3-gate obs, I really doubt he's going to get much done with this 3-tank push. He has these vultures waiting on the south to maybe start laying down some mines or go in to build probes as well. Yeah, he's going to lay down some mines out here, and maybe once the goons come to try and deal with the push, the vultures will go in for a run by and try and get some probes as well, so maybe he can find some damage here. But I don't think this push is going to be overly successful. There's going to be a lot of Dragoons for him to handle.
Yeah, all these Dragoons coming up here, definitely enough to take out this army, and I don't see siege mode finished up yet either, so you can't really siege up this position and try to take a fight. If Sins actually moves his Dragoons around and clears out the mines, he could surround this. Oh, that mine hit though. Really, really great for Rush, and he's even going to try and run by here into the natural, it looks like.
Yeah, this is what he needed to do. He needed to probe at the natural with the vultures while the Dragoons were at the 3rd base. But really good play from Sins. Going to be blocking up that wall with a pylon just to make sure no shenanigans are going to be coming out of Rush. He's playing extremely defensive. I think he's well aware of what Rush might want to do in this game. And on this, oh, some probe, one probe going down to that mine as the Dragoons clear it up. Oh, this wall is still open here at the 3rd base. So it looks like Rush going to keep coming up into this area yet again. Siege tanks on the low ground, vultures coming up into the high, laid down some mines and putting a little bit more pressure on Sins here. He has got a fairly good position with these mines on the high ground by the cliff edge and the tanks right up against it. It's going to be a little bit challenging for Sins to come in here and clean this up nicely.
Yeah, there's not a lot of surface area to get on top of those tanks. Even if you come around the other side there, it's going to be tough. And actually, with the reinforcements coming up here from Sins, Rush is just going to decide to back off. He takes a little bit of damage here, or he deals a little bit of damage to Sins, and he's going to back away, not losing any tanks. Pardon me?
Yeah, there's that 5-factory push from Rush. He's doing that the build I thought he might be transitioning into. Yeah, so we're going to be seeing a lot of aggression out of Rush. It won't be as successful as it could be, though, saying, because of the 3-gate ops expand. Like the Protoss has way more Dragoons than typical, so he will have a sizable ground force of infantry to help defend against this. But it looks like Rush really wants to go for that killing blow in the next minute or so.
He really hasn't lost too many probes. I mean, one or two went down to the mines there in the early game, but the probe number is still good here. As long as he adds on more gates and really pumps up into a strong Protoss ground army, he should be able to roll over this without too much trouble. We don't have a shuttle out on the map right now, but that would be crucial to have in dealing with this push. Here it comes now.
Well, looks like Bodge just streaming down. There's only Dragoons here, so if the mines do get laid down, the tanks get into a nice position. It's going to be really difficult for these Dragoons to deal with these tanks, but he has got a lot of surface area to work. He's got his Dragoons down to the south and from the west coming in for a little pincer maneuver. They're going to be getting onto these frontline tanks. Two of the tanks probably going to die in short order. The Marines buffering as much as they can, soaking up as many of those space shots as possible. Lots of Vultures going to be going down, but so are the Dragoons. So many Dragoons have gone down for sins. There's so much blue blood on the field right now. Rush has absolutely crippled this army of the Protoss. Going to be rallying units meanwhile and streaming down into this natural choke point. If he can contain all these rallied Dragoons, it's going to be really hard for Sins to get out on these tight chokes and bridges.
Yeah, this seemed like a premature cleanup attempt here for Sins. He's going to tap out. GG is called. And Rush takes game number 1. Sins not able to break that push despite having kind of a counter build order there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he definitely was set up to deal with that push really well. The free gate obs expand is one of the most safest standard ways you can play PvT. In fact, it's so safe a lot of Protoss players don't do it. They want to try and cut those corners, get those earlier Nexus timings and squeeze out a little bit more economy. So he should have definitely had the tools needed to deal with that kind of push, but was unable to execute.
All right, and with that, we're going to be moving on to game number 1. Or game number 2, excuse me. All right, game number 2. Okay, after predictable game number 1 with Sins being knocked out by Rush, we are now into Soma versus Rush here with Soma in the top left-hand corner, Rush in the center right. This is Medusa. A very famous map. It's been around for a long time. It's kind of our replacement map here for Bluestorm because the pros didn't want to play on it anymore.
I mean, I can't say I'll blame them. It'd be nice if we could get them on that new map Sandstorm, which is kind of like an updated version of Bluestorm with some changes, which I think is a bit more balanced and a bit more fun as well. Would be nice if we could get them playing on that at some point. We'll have to see. On this map, though, it's a kind of bit of weird for ZVT. You can have very low economic games as well, like seeing 2-port Wraith builds or very fast Muta timings, or even like a Lurker timing where you're going like a 9-pool layer straight into Lurkers, bust down these back temples and get on in the mineral line of the Terran player really early on. There's all sorts of fancy things you can do on this map. However, these two players I doubt will be doing anything too crazy on this map. It looks like Rush is going to be just making a wall in his natural expansion area, so nothing too crazy going to be coming out of him for the time being. It looks like we'll probably be seeing a hatch burst 12 from Soma.
Oh, and it looks like a command center first going to come down here for Rush, as he has not yet thrown down his barracks. Yeah, I think Rush is much more of a 2 barracks boy. He's not really interested in going for some sort of Leda build or anything like that. He just wants to play his game and put the pressure onto the Zerg, fight the Mutas, and eventually get into his late game with 4 base and, you know, tons and tons of Marines and, yeah, all that good stuff.
Well, I wish I was playing against Rush right now, because my build on Medusa would kill him.
Is that 11 pool?
No, it'd be a 9-pool into Lurker, so my 9-pool would do a lot of damage to him, and I'd have a Lurker follow up killing these back temples.
Yeah. So the back temples, you don't actually need to mine out the minerals in order to get over the temples. Even with the Lurker, there's enough space to get by there. It's just that the minerals are there to hop things over, to glitch things through. So we're going to see Soma dealing with those minerals here early on. He doesn't want to allow some sort of vulture play to hop over that temple and get into his main base here.
Yeah, and he's not going to get punished for this. I mean, at least not for the time being. With the 12 hatch opening, there's not really any pressure you can do. If there was no ability for the Terran to wall off, or he hadn't chosen a wall, you can do a link flood. But as we can see, Russia's got a very nice wall set up here, so there's no way you can link flood this to punish him. One thing that could be possible is some kind of 2-hatch Hydro timing to try and put pressure on the wall at the front, but it's not really the most ideal solution in these situations. So we'll probably see just a fairly standard 2-hatch Muta kind of follow up, and Soma will just kind of swallow their economic loss for the time being. Trying to get some damage done on his SCV, but beautiful micro from Rush going to be bumping bellies with that drone and putting a lot more damage onto it than can be received. So not going to be able to kill that SCV in the process.
Yeah, we've got a Marine out here as well, so his wall is safe. For now, what's going to be the follow-up here from Rush? It's going to be a fast eBay. Are we going to have a fast factory? I see something in the center right. I'm imagining it's going to be a barracks, but we'll just have to wait and see. No armory thrown down just yet, and a third base is going to be dropped here over in the top right for Soma. There's the fast factory.
Yeah, no, I like this play from Soma. You definitely want to go for the greedy third hatch here in this situation. Like, we've already swallowed the economic loss of him taking that CC first. We need to do something about that. So taking the third hatch on location at another gas base is definitely a good play. We know there's not going to be too strong of a push timing early game that we need to worry about. So I think it's a very wise choice from Soma to do this. The factory choice from Rush, I'm curious if this is going to be a Valkyrie build. I think it might be.
Yeah, it looks like a Valkyrie build to me. Yeah, and you're totally right. He's also got the Overlord over the natural. He can see that, you know, there wasn't constant Marine production. He sees only 4 Marines, so he knows that there's not going to be pressure for quite a while. He can just go ahead and grab that base, no problem. Comes an engineering bay as well as a starport, so we will be having, I think, that Valkyrie play. There's the armory as well, so yeah, 100% confirmed.
Yeah, I think this is a really good choice from both players. I think I favor Rush slightly here with his build order choice and game state, but Soma definitely is lined up to deal with this. He will have that third gas online a little bit earlier than usual, so that will help him out in dealing with these Valkyries. The main game will be, can he snipe these first 1 or 2 Valkyries with maybe some Scourge or some really good Museless micro in the early phase of the game. If he is able to shut down those first few Valkyries, it'll be really hard for Rush to gain air superiority after the fact.
Yeah, this is something that Zerg players at the highest caliber have kind of a gift for doing. They're just so good at utilizing those Scourge to pick off important units. Scourge can be one of the worst and most buggy AI units in the game, so it's always impressive to me when they get them to connect perfectly on these Valkyries and Science Vessels.
Yeah, and with this third hatchery, he's able to squeeze out just a few more muters in the early game, so he's going to be flying right on into the main base, and these turrets are just barely going to be finishing up in time, so I'm already getting to work on one of those SCVs. Might be able to get the kill just before the turret's finished. The second SCV tried to finish it up, does manage to do so, and Soma can having to back away, but does get one of those SCVs, 2 Scourge, waiting in the stack as well for that first pick, so he's well aware of this Valkyrie, but once they get on top of it, if he can, Scourge do connect and get that first Valkyrie saying that's really huge.
Oh, beautiful connection there. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Having the Scourge at the perfect moment and executing that snipe. It's just so Soma here. He is fantastic with these units, and now he's getting into a really good position here where only 1 turret or less can hit him. Looks like 0 turrets able to hit in this area right here underneath the mineral patches. He's doing a ton of damage. Some drones being transferred up to the top right. He's going to get that third gas rolling and continue on with this push. Here comes another 2 Scourge in this stack. If he gets this next Valkyrie, it's going to be insane damage. He is going to get it. Oh my god.
That's huge. I think he's won the game from this point. That's almost critical damage to Rush. He has these turrets on the mineral line, which will protect the SCVs for the time being, but he's lost all his bio right now. Currently not getting his SCV sniped too much, but he's already down so many workers, and the bio count's going to get reduced further and further. There's no way he's going to be able to field a large MG. The third Valkyrie coming out will be key. If he can keep this alive, maybe he will survive for the time being, but there's now 8 Mutalisks out in his base right now, so he's going to be one-shotting all of these SCVs, and eventually, if he keeps piling up these Muters and makes another couple of pairs of Scourge, you can get on top of these turrets and finish the game from here. The Terran has lost so many bio units already, and there's not really anything covering these barracks besides a turret and a Valkyrie, so if he gets on top of this Valkyrie and kills it with these Scourge, it's going to be huge for him, because he can just get on top of Terran production and finish the game from here, Sam.
He's going to get it as well. Oh, 8 health.
8 HP.
8 HP.
He's trying to get the bounce with the glaze, but the bounce doesn't connect. Going to be starting to repair that Valkyrie, hovering in the safety net of those 2 turrets. Medic also going to be taken out as well. He doesn't have 9 Muters, so he can't one-shot those medics just yet, but it doesn't matter. There's no bio units covering those medics, so as long as he keeps sniping these units one at a time, it'll be really hard for Rush to field a large enough infantry force to finish off these huge swaths of Muters that are going to be running into his base soon.
2 Valkyries are out now, just pure mutilous production. He dives upon the turrets. He's got the Scourge here to threaten, and Rush not even able to get a single volley off with these Valkyries. There we go. Finally does get 1 volley, but doesn't kill the all-important Scourge. And they will connect, and they will take down one of these Valkyries. He's just continuing to shove forward here. A very clean win from Soma here on Medusa, just playing out exactly the way he likes to, with the 2 hatch meter pressure. Of course, getting that 3rd base up as well in this situation is preferable. He just runs him down. There's the last Valkyrie falling. With that, it should be a GG. There are so many ways that Soma could have followed it up, but this is just so him. Continuously producing mutas for the win.
That's a great use of the Scourge, just to constantly zone out the Valkyries like that. Really, really well executed, as you said, Sam.
Yeah, even with the patrol micro on the Valkyrie, you know, you can get that thing to slide, but at the end of the slide, it still stops. So the moment that the Valkyrie starts to shoot, I see Soma just right-clicking those Scourge onto the Valkyrie and running away with his mutas, basically always getting those connections and shutting that play down. And man, if we see Zerg players that are capable of executing like this every game, that Valkyrie build is going to go away real fast.
Yeah, it's going to lose its potency, much like how back in the day Flash was doing 1-on-1 all the time, and then Zerg's kind of figured out, well, I can just 2-hatchling all in you and like get burrow, and just like that kind of lowers the win rate of that build down into the below 60s almost. So yeah, that's not so good anymore. So unfortunately for builds like this, if they do get figured out more and Zerg start metaing it, making those early pairs of Scourge, just get on top and start zoning out and picking off the first couple of Valkyries instantly, could be a build that might go away soon.
And the arms race in Zerg versus Terran continues. Both races trying to metagame each other. And this might be the way to do it. This might be the way to handle the Valkyrie build in the future. We'll see. As Rush gets eliminated, Soma gonna go up here. We're moving on to game number 3. It's either gonna be Shuttle or Mini. That's coming up next. Match number 3 has just begun. Soma spawning down here in the bottom right-hand corner. We've got Shuttle send out against him, spawning in the top right. I thought they were going to send out Shuttle, personally. I think he's much better at PvZ than he is at PvT.
Yeah, I think that might have been maybe a better choice to send out Shuttle here, but I don't also blame them for sending out the likes of Mini. Against someone of the caliber of these players, maybe it's good to get Mini some confidence early on. Like if Mini can pick up a win against one of these good Zergs now, that's gonna, emotionally for Mini, that's gonna be really good, because Mini's the kind of player that thrives on those emotions. He's a very mechanically talented player, but he's more of an emotional player. Like when things go wrong for him, they go really wrong. When things go well for him, they go really well. So if he can start to pick up some confidence against these really high-tier Zergs early on, I think that might be a big boost for the Protoss and having a bit of a chance at getting some points on the board.
Yeah, this is a long shot here for Shuttle, despite this being his best matchup. It will be a tough uphill battle here against Soma. Soma sending out his first drone to actually right over to the 3rd base, interestingly enough. He could have actually gotten it at the natural, but decides instead just to go directly to the 3rd. He's gonna have this drone come out here. Probe is gonna have to scout the main to make sure there's no spawning pool here. And sees no spawning pool. Indeed, it is a gateway first. Where is this spawning pool? There it is. Okay, spawning pool thrown down.
Yeah, it's just 11 hatch. What he's doing is he's making the hatchery already at its natural 3rd, so he's not forced to 11 pool, because one of the annoying things about going for the 11 hatch is that if they do first scout you and they can just block the 11 hatch, you're forced to make the pool at 12 instead, which you really don't want to do in an ideal world. So it's just a way of kind of metagaming the early potential hatchery block from the Protoss and hiding that second overlord as well. Always a good idea to confuse the Protoss into thinking maybe it's a 9 pool. They're going to have to check up that ramp anyway.
Makes sense. Guys, before we go any further, I'd like you to do me a favor. Go to the link in the description, check out KCM's channel, give him a like and subscribe, and make sure to leave a comment as well, thanking him for his generosity and for his amazing content. We love it. We're enjoying the heck out of this KCM. This season has been great so far, and he definitely deserves all the ups you can send his way. So definitely go over there and talk to him. Whoa, that drone just about went down there. Just manages to escape onto the geyser. Gets the probe. I think one drone has gone down. I see some bit of blood on the ground, and he gets a second.
That's huge. That's really huge for Shuttle right now. Any drone kills is absolutely stellar, but getting two, that's essentially completely crippled the opening from Soma here. As long as he doesn't lose this other Zealot for 3, and there's no Zergling counterattack from Soma that kills him, he'll be in a good spot. There is a lot of Zerglings making his way to his natural now, and Soma's starting to guess. Like, there's this other Zealot in the main base still that he didn't know about, starts to pull back the drones one at a time as they get low HP, so not going to be losing too many, but ooh, this Zealot drill. Beautiful play from Soma. They're not letting any of these drones dying and mitigating too much lost mining time, but it did force the Zerglings back critically, so it'd be much harder for him to get some pressure on at this front. Cannons hasn't yet started to warp in, so the cannon will not be finished by the time these Zerglings get to this wall, and there will be 2 Zealots versus these Zerglings, so with some micro, Soma can put a bit of pressure on at the front here.
Yeah, that was a Giga Brain move there from Shuttle to send the Zealot around inside the main base. He might have benefited from holding that back for another few seconds there, but it turns out remarkably well. He draws the Lings back into the main. He does some damage, forces some lost mining time, and with the early 2 drones that were picked off, this position is looking fantastic for him.
He's looking like he wants to do a 973 bust. He did kill those first couple of Zealots, and usually against the Gateway first, if you do kill the first couple of Zealots, it does allow you to have a bit more map control, so that you can get away with doing these 973 plays. There's currently 3 Zealots moving out on the map. I wonder if he's just trying to call... If Soma will call this as a bluff and think that he's going to turn around with these Zealots, or if he actually will make quite a few additional pairs of links. I imagine he will make those additional links just to be extra safe and hide the fact that he is going for this 973. He doesn't want to tip off Shuttle to his drone count right now and exactly what he's going for, so he wants to get on top of these Zealots and try and intercept them as much as possible.
Yeah, he's adding on quite a few drones at this third base. This is going to disguise the play rather well, but this next Zealot coming in could get right up in here to the main base. This is important what we're seeing on screen, but this Zealot over here is incredibly important to the game state. If he manages to get up into the main base and see no layer, he's gonna have so much information. Here he gets a drone as well. That's crazy.
Wow, it looks like I don't think he's going to pull the trigger on this, at least right now. He's just making drones. He did make this early Hydra Den, but it looks like he's not going to be committing to a 973 anymore. He decided, I guess, with those Zealots coming in, that there's no way he can hatch out Hydras without them being seen, so instead he's just going to drone up behind it and maybe transition into a little bit more of an economy play with some maybe a Hydra timing effect later on. Getting on top of these Zealots is Soma trying to do his best to reduce their whole hit points. Here starts to come the Hydras now. It's a little bit late. There is a second cannon warping in now. He could have been getting Hydra upgrades this entire time, so these Hydras do already have speed with range on the way, so that's one thing. He'll at the very least make a few of these Hydras to scare Shuttle right now and make him think that there's something coming here, but it could also be a more macro play. We could be seeing another hatchery being thrown down soon.
Yeah, and I like what Shuttle did there. He started a couple of cannons, and if the Corsair doesn't see anything, you can just cancel those. But he does see Hydras on the way, and now he's actually got 4 cannons almost complete here. A 5th cannon going to be on the way as well. He's opening up that egg area so they can get his Zealots out a little bit quicker, so they can get his probes out to the front line to fight here if necessary. Losing the gateway is annoying, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. As long as these cannons finish up and he's able to protect that forge, he's going to be happy with this hold. Coming here into the natural, he sees those hatcheries popping up here. No range just yet for someone to start hitting that forge, but now it finally does finish, and he will start to hit that forge. How long are we? We don't know. Only Shuttle knows, and he'll have to buy some extra time here if he wants to allow that upgrade to finish. He starts, I think, another forge in his main. Will he be able to save this upgrade, though? It's looking dire. He's going to send the Zealots forward. He must be very close to finishing that off, but Soma just ignores those Zealots and continues to fire with the Hydras. and +1 is denied.
This is a big win for Soma. This is just a fake Hydra bust. There's no real committal here. And one thing that was really wise from Soma is he made a couple of extra Hydras rallied out from his main base, so that when the Corsair came into the natural, he did see a few more Hydras in production. And he doesn't have full map vision, so for all he knows, there are more Hydras still streaming onto the map, and the Hydra bust is still imminent. So he did have to keep finishing morphing in those cannons, which does slow down his build by quite a bit. Each of those cannons could have been a gateway. So far this is favoring Soma rather nicely, I would say, and a lot of hatcheries are going to be going down for him, going up into 6 hatch Hydra production, it seems.
Yeah, this is not a win by any means, but Soma is kind of evening out the odds here after that kind of rough opening that he experienced. Look at how many drones he's managed to pop out here, even though he lost 2 early drones, excuse me, and he went for this kind of fake Hydra buzz. It's amazing how much production he's been able to pump out here, how many drones he's been able to add on, and he's continuing to do so, getting up into that 50-60 drone range is where you really want to be with 6 hatch Hydras, so you can continuously produce here with all of your hatches at the same time.
Yeah, looks like Shadow will be moving out onto the map now, but this says a lot. But already Soma has just a few superior army with these already fielded Hydras and went into producing more. So it's a really tough situation for Shuttle, because he needs to get out on the map and put some pressure with these Zealots, but there already is quite a sizable amount of these Hydras for him to go up against, so he's going to have to wait a little bit longer until Storm's ready. It's going to be a bit tricky for him to be able to overpower this huge army that's going to be coming out of Soma soon with this huge Zerg production. But he has got 5 High Templars already banking up that energy for Sidestorm, so he might have enough tools in his arsenal to deal with it. Of course, they're going to be intercepted by those Hydras as it scouts around, tries to get a sniff for the tech path of the Zerg and exactly what's going to be coming out of him soon.
Kind of a brutal supply block here. The entire time you were talking, he's been stuck on 78 supply, and he's still stuck. There we go. A bunch of Overlords pop out, but you can see his minerals are very, very high here, and this is a critical moment for Soma where he needs to be pumping out of all hatches and just maxing out his army as much as possible here so that he can contend with this push out that's going to come from Soma from Shuttle very, very soon. And he actually pops a bunch of drones, which is even more painful. If you're popping out all army supply, that means that the army is going to come a little bit later. But if you're popping out all drones, that means you're going to be missing out on that income you could have been making while those drones, were sitting as larvae instead of in those eggs. So that's unfortunate for Soma. Now, he does get up to that critical mass of drones he wants to get to. He's also produced a few mutas here. He's going to go for some snipes on some probes, maybe go for some Templar as well. There's nothing here to defend, so this is really going to be a thorn in the side for Shuttle. He's taking a base at 12 o'clock. Can he hold on to his main and that third base at the same time, or will Soma be able to snipe that? So many probes have gone down so far.
Yeah, it's just 5 mutas as well, just the right number to 1-shot probes and 2-shot Templar. So that's a very good number of mutas. He's not really committing a lot for it as well. He understands that it's very unlikely there's going to be any defense. There was only a single Corsair made, no cannons in the main. Dragoons don't fight mutas that well as well, so really easy damage for him. Low-hanging fruit even for him to go in and swipe up those probes with that 5 muta timing. You do have a huge force of Hydras moving into the north that are going to be bullied away by that Sidestorm. Soma doesn't want to engage the Protoss just yet if he can help it, but he might try and take some skirmishes and see if he can snipe off some of the army, or at least delay it moving across this map for the time being, while he has more time to macro, more time to get more and more units. And Muta's going to be going back into the main, but wisely by Shuttle having some Dragoons there waiting to position to make sure they're not going to be taking too much more further economic damage. So far, pretty well played from Shuttle, but I think that Soma is going to start to outmaneuver him with this Zerg production he's got online. There's so many drones, so many hatcheries he's got in this base up on the 9 o'clock that I don't think it's even been scouted, so that will probably be online for some time. And with the 6 coming in as well, he's going to be on a lot of gases.
Yeah, that base in the center left is going to net him an easy extra gas here, and his spread on the map is phenomenal, by the way. Look at how spread out he is. He sees everything on his half of this map. He doesn't have anything scouting out top left to make sure that he knows the timing of shuttles. That's kind of the last thing that we really need in this situation. 11 mutas now flying into the main, going for another attack. He's just going to go after these cannons. They can 3-shot and he will be killing off these two cannons very, very quickly, going after the probes. The Dragoons are pretty helpless against this type of play. He's going to pull the probes away to try and get a storm, but wisely here, Soma just staying over top of the probes, not allowing him to get a storm without killing a lot of those. He kills the Templar, and now he's just going to work on these Dragoons, killing so much of the economy here for Shuttle, and Shuttle is kind of falling apart now with the Dragoons just kind of running up into the main and getting 2 or 3 shot down here by the mutas over and over again. Every single probe is dead here or retreated at this point. And Soma continuing to shove forward, his supply outweighing Shuttle's at this point, 156 to 137. With this many gas, he can make so many lurkers now.
Yeah, there's not really much that Shuttle's going to be able to do to him. He doesn't have a 4th base online, so there's no way he can keep up with this Zerg production anymore. It's going to be almost impossible for him to take that 4th base. He has these mutas flying in, going to be sniping more High Templars, more probes. He almost should have just stormed his own probes and tried to kill the mutas at this stage, because keeping the mutas alive and hesitating in storming your own probes actually kind of allows the mutas to have free reign over you, and it's actually, I don't think, the wisest decision at all. Now we start to see him starting to throw down storms on these mutas. He needs to be a lot more liberal with this storm usage. He's allowing these mutas far too much value. It would have been so much more cost efficient to just storm your own probes and put some damage onto those mutas at least, but unfortunately for him, only just now starting to soften up this muta pack, and it's already too late. Soma racing ahead in supply and production, and by the time this Protoss is moving out to take his 4th base, the Soma will just be able to engulf him with his huge superior army.
Yeah, he's spent all of his gas, and you know exactly where that's gone. It's not been mutas, guys. It's gone into a huge number of lurkers and hydras. He should also be getting into Queen's Nest here momentarily. Triple evolution chamber. There's the Queen's Nest. That hive will be started here momentarily. Oh, he's got 4 evolution chambers. That's fine. That's fine. It's just 1 extra drone. And 75 minerals. It's okay to have that extra as long as he's got all the upgrades coming here.
The reason for that is because he wants to keep all 3 upgrades safe. So the Evo chamber at the 3rd will probably just be used for SimCity at this point after getting the first Hydra upgrade. So if it was picked up by a Zealot run by, it won't be stifling his upgrade timing at all. So going to be remaking all those evolution chambers in his main, keeping them as safe as possible.
Now with this huge army heading towards 12 o'clock and Shuttle a little bit out of position here to fight with it, someone's going to get this high ground for free and start to shove down. Whoa. That's a lot of hydras on top of each other. The storms are not coming down, though. The Templars are getting completely destroyed here. That was like 5-6 Templar. They got killed in rapid succession. Soma just completely outclassing Shuttle right now.
The flank from the right-hand side, he's already set up the pincer and start whittling down this Dragoon count. The only thing that Shuttle had going for him was a huge number of Dragoons, and he backed him up into the choke point and took away all of his surface area advantage. And now Soma going to town on these units. There are a few Zealots soaking up a lot of damage from these Hydras, but look how many Hydras are streaming across the map. It's almost like Sauron Zerg style, just getting on top of these Dragoons and Acid Spores, ripping them apart one at a time. There's no way the Protoss player can overcome these kinds of odds. I think it's going to be GG and lights out for Shuttle here soon, unfortunately, Sam.
Look at the red on the map, Shun. It's like, I see you. The Eye of Sauron has vision of everything on the map here. And he's just streaming forward, breaking right up here into the natural, not even concerned about taking out these additional bases. He's just going to go straight for the throat, sending in all the units here, and there's just nothing that Shuttle can do at this point. He is so far behind in economy. His army count has been completely reset. Look at this wave of units.
It's like a wave in a UMS map, say. It looks pretty scary to me.
Yeah, really, Soma doesn't need to do anything at this point. He can just siege up all these lurkers at the front of the natural and wait for Shuttle to leave this game. He's about to run out of minerals here in the natural. He's about to run out in the main as well. Lurkers running right up onto the probes, and storms get thrown down, but there's just way too much Zerg.
Wow, he's almost 100 supply ahead of him right now. This is ridiculous at this point. Shuttle's probably just processing the loss at this point. GG finally taps out. Such a stellar game out of Soma. I mean, what a beast this man is.
Yeah, Soma on fire today. Makes it look easy. Both Rush and Shuttle have fallen so far. How many more victims of this insane beast of a player will we see in this series? It's going to be either Sharp or Light coming up next to the chopping block. Let's see which player Terran is going to send out next. With Shuttle eliminated, only one Protoss player remains. He's not in this game. It's Sharp versus Soma. Sharp spawning here in the top left. Soma in the bottom left. Vertical spawns here on Polypoid. Yes, Polypoid. And we'll see how Sharp handles this crazy aggressive Soma, who's absolutely on fire today.
He's playing like a god, saying he lost 2 drones and still made it look easy with that phenomenal mind game play, squeezing out a few drones to make it look like he wasn't going for the Hydra burst, and actually making it look like it was a committed Hydra burst with some very sneakily timed Hydras to pull the Corsair Scout as well, and then going into that crazy production. But we're going to be seeing a nice little fast 8 racks coming out from Sharp. This isn't the most ideal positions for it. It would have been nicer if he was in the bottom right, because you can Mickey Mouse wall, float back the barracks, or a really nice wall off the Marines hopping on the inside of the wall. But if he does want to go for the wall in here, he will have to be building Marines on the outside of his wall, which can be a little bit precarious if there was some kind of aggressive 11 pool or something out of Soma.
Yeah, I doubt we'll see a wall in here from Sharp. Probably we'll end up seeing an earlier gas and then a factory follow-up, so he can get a Vulture out to deal with any sort of follow-up Zerglings that are going to be coming across the map. But we'll have to see first how much damage Sharp can do with this bunker rush. He's going to scout Soma first, so he may be able to get that bunker started a little bit earlier. The first Marine is already out, and we don't even have a spawning pool yet. This is this is a little bit crazy from Soma. He built a lot of drones here. He went back up to 12 drones, and now before throwing down the spawning pool, then back up to 12. It's like a 12-12-12, right? Probably for a 3 right, 2.5 hatch play, so he may end up taking quite a bit of damage from this play.
Well, he'll need to pull drones because the pull is slightly later. He won't be able to pull like 5 or 6 drones. He may have to pull like 7 or 8. He does scout it coming in, so he has got his gas finished mining as well. So he's going to have to delay that gas mining. Maybe just leaving 1 on gas. I would recommend he takes it off the gas and just come down. It does get the SCV down to 5 HP, but there are a few more SCVs. A lot of drones have been pulled. There is, like I said, he needs to pull like a good healthy number here, maybe like 8 or 9, and he has pulled more or less that number, but he hasn't gotten the surround on these Marines yet. He's instead tried to intercept more Marines from coming, so I think he's going to go for the sunken defense, where he builds a few creep colonies, try and defend this, but that's going to go down instantly. Target fire doesn't even get the cancel off on that. He's too busy microing, trying to intercept more Marines from coming down, but there's a few Marines down here already. Oh, this drone in the left-hand side, 9 o'clock, going to be picking up that Marine. It's absolute craziness multitasking from both players right now. Sharp, though, did manage to get that bunker online, and there's no creep colony coming up, so Soma's going to have to go for a lot of lings to try and surround this bunker. He needs at least 12 lings, but there's 3 SCVs to block, so he may need even more than 12 lings to finish up, and there's also a bunker to retreat back into. So what he's going to have to do is get us around with these drones from behind, prevent the Marines from that bunker retreating into the other one. So that's the main play. He needs to go for the full surround on this bunker, but there's already Marines in both bunkers. Sharp has anticipated this play from Soma, so already going to be getting some good value from this bunker. Repair goes down, but it's not going to be enough. Bunker's going to fall. 2 Marines inside and die in short order. The rest of the Marines, though, going to be getting on top of this other bunker. Really, if you play from Sharp here, really anticipating the decision-making tree from Soma here, and has kind of outplayed him a little bit, but is still not yet finished the job. There is now a creep colony being thrown down. 2 Marines are target firing. More lings in production. Drones back on the mineral line, getting their valuable no gas is coming in from Soma right now. He knows that he just needs to make lings to defend against this one drone. Now going to start crippling some gas for him. Maybe he can get that lead, maybe get a speed online, but target firing from Sharp, still denying these creeps over and over again. But if these lings can get behind the Marines, stop them getting to the bunker, this could be huge. Does get on top of those 2 Marines, kills both of them. Really good pick up from Soma there. Doesn't need that creep colony right now. He can now stabilize and get these lings, start surrounding this bunker and clean this up. It could be a pretty good position for Soma here.
Yeah, Sharp did get pretty lucky with the firing from the bunker. You know, you can't target fire a bunker. Oh, the drone! He gets another one. Really nice pick pickoff there for Sharp, and he's gonna get back inside this bunker actually. Oh, actually the Marine just runs over to the left-hand side. I don't know what he's gonna do over there. It dies, but yeah, lucky targeting there from Sharp from the bunker while the bust was happening, while someone was trying to break through that. The bunker actually targeted down like 2 or 3 drones rather than lings, which was really fortunate for him. He got more damage really than he probably should have. And Soma, he's produced a ton of lings, but he's not going to be able to get up this ramp. I'm liking Sharp's position here pretty well at this moment. He just needs to find a way to take this into the mid game here, get his expansion up, and take advantage of this lead he's gained for himself in the early game.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly who I would favor in this situation. I feel like Soma's position's pretty okay. The main issue is that our tech was delayed so long, so we only just now start to be making our Spire as this layer's finishing up. He did delay his gas for so long. SCV trying to get that drone down, managing to get it down to 10 HP, but the other drone or some are going to be pulling that way. We do have the medic and firebat support coming out now for these Marines, so going to be denying the value of those lings, getting on top of those Marines to kill them. So nice play from Sharp here. Kind of going to be forcing some Sunkens out, Soma, and they might even need 2. Yeah, Soma, you need 2 Sunkens, buddy. That's too slow. Oh, this could be a little bit dangerous for Soma. He's even going to be making down the 3rd. He understands that right now he can just die. Like, Sharp's not going for an economic play right now. He wants to kill him, even though there's only like 2 barracks production. It doesn't really matter. There's enough Bioforce here to deny these lings getting much value and getting right on top of these Sunkens. I think Soma will be okay, just barely though, with these Sunkens morphing in. Did buy enough time with those lings, but that's going to hurt his economy a little bit. And we do have the CC coming online now. 3rd hatchery in the main for Soma, so I think the game is slightly evening out a little bit as time goes on.
Yeah, it was an interesting play from Sharp. I'm surprised that he didn't go for the factory after this bunker rush, but it ends up working out pretty well for him. He does the 2 racks play, and he gets some damage here in the way of forcing drones to morph into sunken colonies, and that just deals tremendous damage to the Zerg economy. There's no reason, or there's no way you want to be producing a bunch of Sunkens at this point. He's going to try and get some counterattack damage done, but here we are with Marines tucked tightly up against that command center with the medics in support. He's sending all of his units back home, and this is going to be an easy base take from Sharp. He's just going to transfer a bunch of SCVs down here and get prepared for this Muta follow-up. Soma really needs to get some damage done with this Muta.
Okay, so here's how I think that Soma can win this game from this position. We have no bunker for Sharp right now. If that remains to be the case, what we do is we keep these Zerglings alive and we get enough Mutas out to start pulling the Bioball into the main base, and we go into the natural with these Lings to start picking off those turrets and infrastructure from the outside with the Lings while the Mutas are distracting the Bio in the main. But the problem is that because we delayed Zerg so much, there's going to be such a huge Bioball by the time these Mutas start to get out in full force that he's going to have this a really tall order ahead of him to try and be able to start sniping down this Bioball. But he will be able to distract Sharp into the main base because there isn't many turrets online right now. So now the Ling's going to be going into the natural, hoping to kind of try and see if they can get anything done. But looks like Sharp wisely split his Bioforce and does get one of his Mutas killed already. So actually looking really good for Sharp right now.
There is a bunker here in the natural as well. He's got a Firebat. If he throws a Firebat in that bunker, this is going to get nasty for Soma, because coming in with counterattacks like you're talking about with Lings, it's just so useless against 2 Firebats in a bunker. It's incredibly strong against that.
Yeah, this is looking worse and worse for Soma as time progressing. Sharp is starting to identify the game state, is starting to throw down quite a lot of turrets to make sure he zones out these Mutas from being able to get any damage to his infrastructure or getting on top of the production. There's no way he can fight the bio count right now, so Soma's just going to drone up, tech up, taking his base in the bottom right, making the Hydro Den, Queen's Nest at the 9-minute mark. That's pretty standard timing though. This is pretty late. Like, he's not going to have... It's actually quite slow. Like, he's not going to have his Defiler timing by at least 12 minutes. So this is actually looking a little bit rough for Soma, because Sharp can definitely put on a lot of pressure before that timer. He does have those 3 Sunkens in the natural, but not very many Mutas currently fielded. And we're going to be teching up quite nicely for Sharp. His Starport's now starting to come online. We'll be getting into those vessels momentarily. Soma, I think, can still win this game, but I think there's definitely a slight edge here to Sharp.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that Soma's taking the low ground base. It doesn't get scouted here from Sharp, but it's going to be a lot harder to hold this base with these lurkers that are popping out soon. than it would be to hold a main base instead, or possibly like the 6 o'clock. But he's going to try and do it that way. We'll see how that goes. The hive is going to be started here momentarily. Sharp scans and sees that is the case. He's got his floating factory here to help him ward off these mutas, but he's done a great job so far, just not taking any damage to this. And, you know, not too many more mutas have joined the pack, so eventually Sharp's going to be able to move out here with enough defenses at home to take a fight out on the map. And he is moving forward now. A pretty good trade there from Soma, picking off quite a few of those Marines, but there's plenty more to spare here for Sharp.
Yeah, one thing I would like to point out is this natural expansion of Sharp. He's using 4 SCVs to mine it because the right side gases are not optimal, and with the comset on the right hand side of the command center, you need 4 SCVs to mine that gas optimally. So Sharp has been doing it. But another thing about this expansion is those SCVs are extremely easy to snipe. That's why you see Sharp being so aggressive with this bio positioning in that area, making sure Soma couldn't come in there and snipe too many of those SCVs. But at a cost of it, he did lose a lot of his bio force. So Soma doing a pretty good job of shaving down the bio count, but it's still not quite good enough to prevent a huge counterattack coming soon once these vessels start to come out and kind of take the vessels, to take the mutas like out of commission with those radiates starting to come online. We do have the lurkers morphing out, but it's nothing. Oh, the SCV going to be spying that base in the bottom right as well. So Sharp knows the timings that he needs to hit. Bioforce already moving out. He knows that there's no lurker set up down here right now. The lurkers are trying to stream from the natural of Soma's base down into this bottom right position. Mutas trying to dog the Marines a little bit on their journey down here. Scan comes forward, sees that there's nothing out on this high ground, so he doesn't have to worry about hold position lurkers streaming all the way down to this base, trying to see if he can find a timing, but it looks like he's going to be backing off, identifying that the lurkers were able to get into position in time. So unfortunately for him, not able to bust this position open yet.
Yeah, hold position lurkers are one of the best ways for Zerg to come back in a situation like this, when the Terran is tempted to move out before the vessels are ready, and they can suddenly get ambushed here by hold position lurkers and lose a lot of the marine count that's been built up over time. But that's not going to occur now. 2 dropships popping out here. Sharp is going to continue this pressure play. He's been non-stop action throughout this game, and he's about to ramp it up to a 9 right now.
Yeah, these are some lot of ships, and he can get a lot done with this. There's not a huge force of mutas out on the field right now, so he hasn't really got a lot of anti-drop set up at the moment. There are some Scourge in the main base. Scan does go down and sees those Scourge though, so we're going to be able to probe in here with the vessels first. Maybe even irradiate those Scourge would be interesting choice of him to try and maybe lock out any kind of a counterplay to this dropship elevator into the main base. So he's going to be probing at the front, vessel sweeping and seeing if anything can be done. Looks like he's just going to go for a drop in the natural Scourge after moving into position, but he's going to start unloading. There's a bit of a weird play from Sharp, actually. I'm not too sure I agree with that. He had the scan down. He knew that there was Scourge there. So I don't know why he's fully committed to the drop in the natural. I think it's a bit of a blunder from Sharp, actually. I don't think I like that play.
The Lotto ships turn up nothing here. Drop opportunities have been shut down by Soma. Very, very nice play with the Scourge, just popping right on top of that. I think that Sharp probably didn't expect Soma to react so quickly there with the Scourge, that he would be expecting, you know, maybe the dropships to come in from a lower angle in the back of the main base to try and get in that way. But you know, Soma had full vision of the back of his main base. He's got one over top of the 6 o'clock there, an overlord for the vision there, and he just saw that, immediately sent the Scourge, knocks that down, and he's prevented Sharp from making any headway here. I think Sharp will not continue with this drop play and probably just go into full vessel production from here, try to play this out in a regular SKT style. Here comes a bunch of Mutalisks, gonna wipe up some of these reinforcing Marines, and during that earlier time when he sent the dropships in, actually Soma managed to cancel the 3rd base here for Sharp, and now that 3rd base being built right in front of the natural. It's going to be floated out here shortly, but that slowed down his economy by quite a lot, whereas Soma's economy already busting up here to a 4th base, and a 4th gas is coming online very, very soon.
Yeah, because he did take the risk of taking this natural, he now has this 4th gas for free so he doesn't have to secure the 4th gas with the Defiler, so he can start going into Ultralisk very soon. But there is a force coming down. If he can start irradiating these Defilers and Lurkers over and over again, we do have quite a healthy vessel count of 6, so he can start chaining irradiates and just put on the pressure for 1 to 2 minutes and kind of like pressure the Zerg as much as possible. Maybe he can start breaking through his positions, but he's a little bit distracted because Soma's being extremely active with these small mutiling groups and going to be getting on top of the reinforcing bio over and over again, and not allowing Sharp to fortify his third base and also not allowing him to reinforce with his bio ball, so keeping his bio count low enough that it makes him a little bit difficult for him to put on these pressures onto Soma later on. We do have another couple of Lotto ships coming down to the bottom right southeast quadrant of the map yet again. There are some Scourge down here, there are some Lynx here, there's Filers as well, so Soma has got all the tools he needs to defend against this, but he needs to be on top of his reaction speed as well. Scourge already being moved into a slightly better position, ready for any potential pressure. There are 4 Lurkers in that stack in the bottom right, and he has plenty of irradiates, so if Sharp does decide to put the pressure on right now, he does get the irradiate on the Scourge, preventing any counterplay with these dropships as well. So it looks like he's going to be sending those dropships down into the southeast quadrant, putting on some pressure on Soma here. He needs to get a lot of units into position to defend against this. There are buybacks with these dropships. They're walking up these links really quickly, so Soma needs to react really, and with the irradiate, the fight is going to be really hard for him to defend against. There's drones going down in the main base, Lurkers coming up from the natural position, and as soon as he starts to come in with these Lurkers and burrowing up here, the Science Vessel is going to poke in and start irradiating everything. All of the Defilers, all of the Lurkers are going to start getting irradiated, and now Sharp can start putting pressure on this bottom right natural expansion. Soma needs to be really careful and make sure he stabilizes here, because he has the production that he needs to win this game. If he can just prevent any damage from happening, he will be in a great position. But so far, Sharp taking him to task, reducing his production, reducing his economy by putting on a lot of pressure in the bottom right. Wasn't able to get the bust on that natural, but it doesn't matter. As long as he stays active and start containing these natural rally points of the Zerg, he can still get ahead in this game, but he needs to be getting his own gas online soon. Has been mining from that mineral only, so it's going to be pure FSK Terran for the time being. He does again another elevator into the main base with these 2 dropships, Marines and Bio fighting against these Zerglings. There's not quite enough Zerglings, but with the Dark Swarm, we're going to be able to overpower these drops for the time being. And I think Soma is going to start running away with this game if Sharp cannot find any damage in the bottom left now.
Oh, I think we're going to have an eraser trick here. Another drop coming into the bottom left. The main base is going to get assaulted. Some Ultras are going to pop out, and Ling's getting on top of most of this. But we're about to see an eraser trick, I think. He's going to irradiate this? No, he's just hanging out. Doing some irradiates on a few of these Defilers, but now that Scourge are here... Oh, there's the eraser in the natural, yeah. Killing a ton of drones. He better jump through that... better jump through the Nidus. No, he's not going to, and he's going to lose a ton of drones for that. More and more Science Vessels go down, though. That's a pretty good trade.
Yeah, Soma was relying on his, he was pumping a lot of Scourge there, and he kind of felt like he was probably safe, but unfortunately did lose a lot of the drones through that eraser trick. Has still got a very healthy production going on. This game is still going slightly in Soma's favor the more that time progresses. Even though he lost a few drones there, he is still mining quite a healthy amount of gas and start pumping out a lot of Ultralisks soon. We have more and more dropships trying to load up and do more damage, but now that we have this big fleet of Scourge out on the map and Ultralisk starting to come out, it's going to be really hard for him to get this 4th gas online unchallenged. A small bio group on the ramp of the 12 o'clock going to be shut down by those 2 Ultralisk. 3-1 upgrades on them with the Chitinous plating already active. We have, I think, 2-2 upgrades for the Terran. He needs to get that +3 weapons online soon if he wants to have a chance at fighting these Ultralisks. They're going to be very beefy, very strong, and he's going to be able to produce a lot of them with that 4 gas production and main base being dropped as well. He's going to get the Ultralisk Cavern.
The Ultralisk Cavern goes down, but I gotta mention, +3 has been done for a while, and now, just now, +2 finished up here for Soma on that Carapace. He's gonna be behind, and he has been behind for quite a long time on those upgrades, so Sharp at least maintaining that advantage throughout this game. Staying on top of his upgrades really well here is going to allow him to fight Marines in large numbers versus these Ultras, and he's got his 4th base up as well, so his economy is going to start to really kick in here. He lost a ton of vessels. I think that's one of the main things going for Soma at this moment. The Ultras are getting irradiated in the middle of the map, but that's not a whole lot of irradiate that we see right now.
Yeah, Sharp has lost a lot of vessels in this game. Soma's done a great job of producing so many Scourge to keep producing those vessels. As you can see, the Ultras come into tank for the Scourge. The Scourge can just get on top of those vessels over and over and over again. Sharp trying to use a few Marines to gun down those Scourge, but the Ultras will be taking all that AI fire from those Marines. So unfortunately, without good target firing, there's no way you can kill those Scourge with those fire units. So Sharp losing all of his vessel count. Soma now ahead in supply, and with these 4 gases online, he's going to be able to make so many units to put on the pressure with Soma. Beautiful radiates are going to be coming down. But those radiates are like double-bladed swords. If you radiate the Ultras too close to your Bible, now he's going to be cleaning up your Bible just a little bit faster with the splash damage of that radiate too.
Yeah, I think this is a mistake by Sharp moving out with that small bio ball. You know that Ultras are out on the map. It's scary not to have a presence because defilers can walk across, but not having your units grouped up there definitely does not work out well for Sharp. He's going to have some more fire bats coming out here. He's got a pretty sizable ball, but you still need way more than this to take on a sizable number of Ultra. Like 5 Ultra will just crush this army that we see on screen right here.
And one thing I'd also like to point out is he's never having a huge medic count as well. He's only got like 2 medics with this bio ball. He doesn't have the medics that you need to fight against Ultralists. You don't have the energy or the body blocking without enough medics. So unfortunately for him, he doesn't have the kind of army composition. He needs more vessels going down to these beautifully positioned Scourge, always coming in just at the right time, just when Sharp is already maneuvering his army out onto the map and the vessels are slightly out of position. The Ultras swoop in, start tanking those Marine shots, and the Scourge just absolutely demolish those vessels with their melee detonations. Now Soma's starting to expand rapidly, taking the 6 o'clock. Dropship is moving down there, could drop and deny that, but Soma looks like he's just everywhere right now. Has all units already moving in to intercept that, and Ultras and Fuelings should make short work of that. These Marines can get round to the back and make it very difficult for the Ultra to get back there and deal with that with the Dark Swarm, at least going to be delaying Soma from being able to take too much damage here. So far, I'd say that Soma's playing absolutely impeccably. He's on fire today, Sam.
Absolutely, and even with the disadvantage in terms of upgrades, he's able to fight over and over again, reducing Sharp's army, making it smaller and smaller, and we're actually on even supply at this moment, which is never a position you want to be in here as the Terran. Tons of Lings being produced here, and Ultra's gonna pop out very, very soon. We also have that Defiler ready to throw down Plague and Dark Swarm. As we saw, he did already upgrade Plague, so we're into like the Giga army of Soma, of Zerg in the late game, with tons of Defilers now, and that 5 base gas production. Ultras popping out of every location, just filling up this map. This is going to be so hard for Sharp to fight, but he's going to try and come down here into the bottom right. He's going to try and take a decent trade, but only 4 science vessels. He needs so much more radiate than this to deal with all these Defilers.
Yeah, there's almost more. There's more Defilers than there are science vessels, and that's when you know you're in a bit of a precarious situation as Terran. He is coming in to this mineral-only base, but with just a few Dark Swarms, it's going to be shutting down most of this aggression. There is another force on the left-hand side of the map containing the Zerg, or trying to contain the Zerg. It's kind of like a TVP where you want to contain the rallies on both sides of the map to try and contain the threat, you know. But the quarantine has failed. The lockdown has failed, saying like the contagion is already out on the map. Like the virus has spread. Now Sharp is like in full damage control, and I don't think he's going to be able to control the damage that Soma's going to be giving out to him soon.
Now the 3rd Carapace upgrade has finished. Soma's Ultras are at the peak of their power. They're going to be slaughtering a ton of these Marines as they rush forward here. A lot of these Marines are also plagued, by the way, so having a hard time keeping the Plague off of these. Oh, perfectly done. Lurker with a Defiler here, shutting down this attack towards the 6 o'clock. I think he might have actually killed that base if Soma wasn't so well prepared at that moment. He's going to be consuming a ton of Lings, and then moving forward once again. There's 2 Irradiates go down. He's going to try and break the 6 o'clock, but the army is starting to surround. The walls are closing in here for Sharp as he pushes forward. The Ultras are going to jive on top of this army. Looks like he's getting on top of the space in the center right, and he's tucked himself into a pretty tight little corner here, but eventually a Plague is going to go down on this army, and it's going to be lights out for Sharp, I think.
Yeah, Defiler already getting on top of the mineral-only high ground is going to be a nightmare situation for him now that there's Dark Swarms close to his base, close to his production. That's going to make him feel a lot less secure. He is trying to lay assault to this base at the 6 o'clock, throwing down so many irradiates. He's kind of playing whack-a-mole right now. He needs to kill all these expansions as quickly as possible to try and dry up the Zerg's gas. It is possible that he can be successful in that. He can get into the 6 o'clock base and irradiate all those lurkers and get into those positions and start taking out the gas production of the Zerg. If he's able to do so, he might be able to find a win here. But Soma so far has done a great job of spreading himself out on the map and defending his attacks pretty successfully. He is getting that base denied on the right-hand side. He still has the 6 o'clock online though, so if he can keep this gas at the 6 o'clock, he is still in a very tenable position. Fighters coming in from the back and getting beautiful plague on that bio group, and now most of these vessels are all still on 1 HP, so I'd like to see a mutant produce. Irradiated Ultralisk just clearing up everything, and with the Scourge coming in, he's going to lose almost all those vessels. This is bad news for Sharp.
Yeah, horrible news there. Beautiful Ultra there with, and this one with 17 kills. That other one though with the irradiate just cleaning up these plague marines so efficiently. And there you go, he finishes off that force. He's dealing the damage here on the Terran side of the map and cleaning up the army on his side of the map. This is an almost guaranteed win now for Soma as he rallies Ultra Link Defiler straight on over to his opponent's base and continues to ravage this SCV line. That's quite a few Marines, but there's going to be so many Ultralisks on the field here shortly that there even a huge group of Marines not going to be able to deal with that. Nice snipe on the Defiler. Still some good things happening for Sharp, but this is getting to be a numbers game at this point. There's just way too much.
Yeah, the virus wasn't contained. This is the problem that a lot of Terrans are having. If you aren't able to contain the Zerg on both sides of the map and prevent these other gas expansions going up, they can just explode in power all too quickly. And as we can see, it's just going to be too much for Sharp to handle. He has got this base at the 12 o'clock, but he's mined out in his main and natural, so he doesn't have 2 base production anymore. He's just got 1 base worth of economy. It's going to be a razor tricking some of these drones, transferring. It's a nice little pickup for him, but it's not going to be the kind of critical damage he needs to come back in this game. He needs another gas base. He needs to get his production growing. He's stagnating a lot right now. In fact, he's regressing in his production capabilities quite significantly. So now any damage that Soma does to him is going to be more and more that he cannot replace and replenish. So Soma going to be racing ahead as implied as time progresses, and he's going to be able to squeeze him out of this game soon.
Yeah, here comes another big wave of red coming across the map. That's going to be a ton more Ultras, a ton more Defilers and Lings here to just finish off this Terran. He's done a great job of hanging in there throughout this game, dealing some damage, but the drop play just was not quite there this game, and Sharp, he lost a lot of that advantage that he had in the early game, throwing that away on some kind of costly drops into the natural. And now we find ourselves here with Soma just so massive on the map. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to contain this at this point. He's gonna come over here, get a nice plague on this army, throw down a Dark Swarm, and Sharp will once again have to retreat from this position. I don't see the massive Ultras that I was expecting at this point, but it's got to be coming soon, right?
Well, the thing is that the base on the right got denied, and we are starting to deplete our gases around the map. So even though Soma is in a lead, he doesn't have the kind of like gas production that you'd want to have at this stage in the game. But we are nearly 30 minutes into the game, so a lot of those gases are starting to dry up now for Soma. So he isn't getting a huge amount of gas. He's mainly fielding a few Ultras with a lot of Lings and Scourge to keep reducing the vessel count, keeping his map presence strong. So he is kind of fielding a lot more gas in other areas like the Scourge and such. So just using the Ultras for tanking and not trying to go for that more like crazy Zerg way of playing where you're dumping more or less all of your gas into your Ultras with just a few Scourge. So going to be relying a lot more on those Defiler and Scourge to do the job, while a few Ultras tank. So he's just trying to squeeze out the game from this point of view and prevent the Terran from getting any bases in the top right and keeping the pressure on. So he tries to get a bit more of a technical win. As you can see, he's starting to flood a little bit more Ultralisks over time, but there are still a lot of vessels out, so he doesn't want to run too many of his Ultras out onto the map and get them irradiated irradiated for free, so he's only going to commit just the right amount of ultras that he needs to tank this damage, so the Scourge can make the connections, so their links can do the damage with their adrenal upgrade. So he's being very technical and very careful with how he engages sharp right and being as cost efficient as possible to try and mitigate any potential value of this huge swarm of vessels here.
Yeah, the vessel count has been reduced over and over and over again throughout this game, but Sharp has actually done a great job of recovering that number. GG.
GG.
Sharp taps out, and Soma is victorious. We're getting very close to an all kill here, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Have we seen a win from anyone? Anyone else? Rush took out Sins.
Oh, yeah. So Rush took out Sins, then Soma took out Rush, then Soma's just taken out Sharp. So if Soma keeps going and also takes out Light, there's your all kill, right?
Right. Gets the clapper. He's going to try and take down Mini here. That's probably going to be the biggest challenge so far. He's made everything look pretty easy, but I don't know if he can take down Mini easily or Light. Those are both very tough opponents.
He's got to do both for the all kill, so it's going to be a big challenge for him, but he could get that prize money.
Yeah, 800,000 won. It's about 700 US dollars. Would definitely sit well with him. And his performance here definitely, so far, warrants some sort of prize. I think probably we'll see Zerg take this week, just based on how it's going so far. But anything can happen here in the KCM, boys. It's 1 versus 1 single elimination. And either Mini or Light could go on a spree here. We'll have to find out what happens. Gonna be coming up next year. Mini versus Soma. Our next game should be a banger. Set number 5 of what could be one of the quickest weeks of KCM we've had so far. Soma just dominating throughout today, is now going up against Mini, who spawned at the top right here on Nemesis. Someone down here in the bottom right. This is a very interesting map. I'm curious to see how Mini will approach this. Soma's shown us some really innovative play here in the past.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of ways you can abuse this map. I'm curious what kind of style choices we'll see out of both of them. If we'll see Mini try and do some sort of really aggressive timing attack that we maybe haven't seen before, or if we'll see maybe some kind of economic play out of him wanting to secure earlier expansions. But these island bases, the semi-island bases, do kind of give a lot of options to the Zerg in the early game to be a little bit more greedy than they maybe usually be able to get away with. Mini going to be throwing down his gateway in the natural and then scouting with his probe pretty early on, so going to be wanting to maybe put on a little bit of pressure and punish a 11 hatch at a Soma here.
One thing I can say about this map is the DT play is very, very strong. You can cut through those eggs really, really quick and get on top of some of these island-ish expansions. And Mini is well known for his DT play. His timings with DTs are very, very strong, sometimes mixing in 4 to 5 DTs into a bunch of Zealots just to add that extra DPS and really take it to the Zerg in the mid game. He's going to go ahead and try to block that spawning pool, but Soma smartly throwing that down at the top of his mineral patches. He's going to have that on time and ready here to defend against this first Zealot.
Yeah, one thing I would like to point out is that he actually built the spawning pool in such a way that he can still get his Zerglings between the gas and spawning pool to give him a little bit more accessibility to the back of the mineral line with those Zerglings to kind of deal with any kind of early aggression. Also going to be getting that gas super early, so probably wanting to be getting maybe either a 2-hatch muta play, or would be seeing just a very fast speed link timing out of him.
Yeah, this is going to be sounding alarm bells for Mini. He's not going to be looking for a third base just yet. Soma can't have taken that at this moment, so he's just going to get in here and try to do some pressure. Soma already up here trying to block with the drone, just buying as much time as possible. Looked like he might have gotten that extra shot off there and killed that drone, but now it's just going to be sent down here. I think to the bottom center is where Soma would like to expand next.
Yeah, and he has to be careful here. Like, losing just a few drones can be a real big problem. Even just the singular drone loss and lost mining time can be a big issue. But good drone drill so far, forcing the Zealot. You better get a shot off. Look at this drone drill from Soma. Needs to be careful. Gets the probe. Now needs to shut down the Zealot. Does already have low HP, so we'll be able to clean this up nicely behind the minerals. Won't be able to get many links for its trouble. So really great early defense from Soma. Really stellar.
Wow, and that actually might tilt Mini here. He got nothing from that early Zealot, and Soma just got to drone up and get this base down very, very early. He's going to have a layer on the way here, and I think we're going to see a 2-base Spire.
Yeah, he made it in the natural as well, so he disguised the timing a bit. So as far as Mini's concerned, maybe he took Ling speed before the lair, but actually going to be seeing a really fast lair timing. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a 2-hatch unit play coming out of Soma here, I believe.
Now it looks like Mini wants to try to send a probe through on the right hand side, try to get through that mineral patch if he can get a scout of the main and natural, but there's already a Ling up there from Soma. Soma actually pulls back that Ling at the last possible second, and it looks like Mini is going to try and hop that. Can he actually get in here for the scout? That would be huge.
Well, he'll get even more tilted if he can't get this off. He needs to get this in now. Oh, he doesn't get it. Mini's tilted. I guarantee you he's tilted from that. He's even just going to give up on trying. Is that he can just keep throwing away minerals by attempting that over and over again. Each time he's doing that, it's costing him like at least 30 or so minerals. So it's not a good idea for him to keep trying that, and he's really going to be frustrated that he couldn't get in there and confirm the exact tech choice from Soma. And now he's going to have to go based on assumptions and feel alone, which is never a place you want to be. Soma on the meanwhile will be getting that overlord deep in there, sees that Stargate timing, and will be able to maybe intercept this first Corsair. The whole point of this really fast 2-hatch muter build is that you can get really early muters and Scourge to deal with that first Corsair, and then pile on the pressure because you can catch that first Corsair and make it a nightmare for them. So they need to get in there to scout it with the Corsair, but they might lose the Corsair for doing so.
There's a Stargate going down right now, and how far along are we with this Spire? I think it's coming up here very soon. An extra hatchery here in the natural as well. Wasn't able to get the 3rd base down at the 6 o'clock. He picks off the probe here, which was harassing that 3rd base location. Now Soma can freely take that spot if he wants to, but it seems like he just wants to go for an attack here right off the bat.
The way Soma's playing this makes me feel like he wants to turn this into an all-in as well. He could have made that hatchery at another base, but actually it might have been really smart for him not to do that, because now he can do a little transition into Hydra if he so choose, and like keeping this macro hatchery out on the map allows him to flood more Hydras at the front later on after the initial muter aggression. So you may be seeing a transition from him, or it could just be a mutaling stab as well, but he will be putting on a lot of pressure into him. His cannon is on in the way, and muters are already flying across the map. Looks like Mini can be really wise and not try and scout with that Corsair in a straight vertical line, so he wouldn't be intercepted by these muters. But as it stands, it looks like Soma's in a bit of a commanding lead with this muter Scourge composition, because there's only one cannon up in the main base right now, and Soma can kind of get into the natural expansion now and put on a lot of pressure onto Mini. There's not enough Corsairs to fight this right now. 5 muters do beat 2 Corsairs, so without cannon support and with Scourge to zone out, it's really hard for Mini to deal with this. He has a Dragoon, kind of buffer a little bit, buy some time, kind of stabilize while he tries to get out his 3rd Corsair. So we're doing a good job of keeping his muters with full HP almost, and can be skirmishing down as much as possible, kind of mitigating a lot of the mining time from Mini right now is really crippling his economy. Not being able to mine in his natural is a really big deal for Protoss.
And as that Dragoon corpse melts into the floor, the Corsairs dive forward, and Soma starts to get pushed away here. The splitting is really, really nice for him, getting most of those back home safely. Only losing 1 Mutalisk for all of that damage was definitely worth it here. Another base going up in the bottom left-hand corner as well. Soma taking that economic win and rolling forward with it. He's forced more cannons in the main here. He's forcing out a ton more Corsairs, and he may just transition from this point.
It's looking like a 2-hatch muter into 4-hatch Hydra timing. I think he wants to kind of trick Mini into thinking that he needs a big Corsair fleet. He's going to go up to like 6 Corsairs with +1. He's thinking this is an Ogre Zerg style, but little does he know that there's a Hydra den. So what's going to happen is he's going to invest a lot of this gas, a lot of this minerals into this anti-muter defense of cannons and lots of Corsairs. He's not going to have the Storm ready to deal with this Mutalist, with this Hydralisk timing that's going to be busting down his wall at approximately, I'd say about 9-ish minutes. Could be a little bit sooner. This Corsair is actually being a little bit brave, and it's going to get a little bit of scouting information now coming into the natural base. does see that there's some Hydralisks, but he doesn't see the flood of Hydras. He just sees a few defensive Hydras, so it doesn't look very scary right now. Now the Zealots see the Hydras out on the map with Hydra speeds, and now he knows the bad news is that he's going to have to defend. He's going to have to throw down a lot of cannons right now. These Hydras are going to start busting down his wall. We'll be focusing down this forge momentarily. There's not enough Zealots to come out here and pressure. There's 2 minutes Zergling support. There's a really tough spot for Mini. He's going to have to put down a lot of cannons. Zealots do come out, try and save this upgrade from finishing. He may be able to do so. There's still a little bit of HP on this forge. It might just barely finish up. I'm not quite sure on the timing of that. I think he just barely doesn't get it. Unfortunately for Mini, that was really close timing as well. I think it was just a few seconds from being ready. That's really unfortunate for him. He's now going to be in a little bit of a precarious situation. Soma doesn't have to commit to this by any means as well. He doesn't actually have to commit to the... He's going to be catching up to some of these Corsairs with these Scourge. Looking really, really stellar right now. He's kind of baiting out Mini by making all these cannons, and there's no actual Hydralisk threat coming. So Mini having to waste a lot of his minerals on this defenses, and it's going to be all for naught because Soma's probably going to macro up from here, maybe go into a bit more of an Ogre Zerg style with more of these Scourge now that he's dealt with his Corsair fleet a little bit.
Yeah, Soma, the ball is really in his court right now as to what he wants to do. He can continue producing Hydra. He can get into 4 bases if he wishes. He could also just switch back into Muta if he wants. There are still quite a few Corsairs out, but he's managed to pick off enough where it's still viable at this point. This base down here in the bottom left is up and running. Not too many drones have been transferred to that location yet, but Soma gonna go ahead and grab a 4th here. I think I know what we're seeing. It's gonna be Hydra and Lurker coming very, very soon.
It looks like it could be a good tech choice for him. He has done a good job of reducing that Corsair count. Mini is replenishing it back up to 6, so he can one-shot these Scourge, starting to pick up a few of these Overlords. He can supply blocks, so that'd be a big deal, but Soma has a few extra Overlords made that didn't quite supply block him losing that. Has a DT out on the right-hand side, like you were saying earlier, going to be backing away at those eggs.
Yeah, this is going to be great for Soma, I feel. For this map, especially, it's very, very hard for the Protoss to attack you. If you shut down some of these assimilators, kill some of the assimilators, and then turtle up at the bottom right natural and the bottom left natural, that's the only 2 locations where the Protoss army can actually push you. And that means that there's only 2 locations that Soma has to defend, and he's going to be able to lock down the bottom right, bottom left 2 bases, the bottom right 2 bases, and he's going to be able to lock down the 6 o'clock as well. Oh, great connections there with the Scourge. The Storm was actually denying a lot of that from connecting, but he actually, in the end, manages to get quite a few of those Corsairs and gets out with his Mutas as well. So Soma taking yet another good trade. It's going to force even more Corsairs to be made here for Mini, most likely, if he wants to try and seize that air control. But what I was trying to say just a moment ago is he's going to be able to lock down a ton of bases here, Soma is, just by holding these 2 natural chokes.
Yeah, he killed that DT and got a High Templar during that zone out in the main base as well, so getting a few Corsair snipes, getting that DT shut down on the right-hand side, as well as picking up a High Templar snipe. Really good play from Soma, going to be slightly lowering the power level of this Protoss move out soon. Looks like Mini's trying to take this 12 o'clock base, but because Soma has more or less air control and superiority right now, it's going to be really tough for Mini getting this island base online. It could be a little bit precarious of a situation for him. If he can't get this 3rd base up, and Soma, meanwhile, on 4 base production, could be sitting free. It's going to be really tough for Mini to keep up with the Zerg production for too long.
Yeah, a little move out of Zealots here, but they see the massive Hydras in this position, just gonna have to back away immediately. He loses that 12 o'clock nexus, forced off by the air superiority of Soma. His connections with the Scourge and the Corsairs have hurt him badly. Now up to 8 Corsairs, but still not able to take a direct fight with this huge Mutalisk and the Scourge army. Soma just going to continue to deny bases here as he pumps up into kind of a crazy macro position with that bottom left now getting saturated. He's going to get that 4th gas as well. And we're going to see Lurkers very, very soon. And there's really no timing here, I think, for Mini to come across the map and punish these quick 4 bases.
Oh, he's going to get on top of these Corsairs. If Mini's not careful, does manage to pull them away just the nick of time. Does lose 1 Corsair for a trip. There's a couple of High Templars here to try and deny these Hydras getting into the 12 o'clock position, but hammering away at this egg. I think the High Templars just barely the nick of time going to be bullying away these Hydras with that Sonic Storm. And unfortunately for Soma, wasn't able to shut down that 12 o'clock base fully, but did delay it quite significantly. Now at 13 minutes now, Mini's starting to finally secure that. But already Soma on 4 base production, probably going to be taking another expansion shortly. But in the meantime, going to be reducing a lot of units to field. And this is a completely open middle, so there's no high ground advantage or terrain for the Protoss to really exploit besides defensively, or once he gets across to the other side of the map. It's going to be really hard for him to push out onto the map and keep securing more expansions. Really, you want to attack and defend at the same time as Protoss and put pressure on the Zerg while you're taking bases behind it, but he's unable to do so. Coming in yet again is Soma with the Scourge and Mutas, while Mini tries to transfer his probes over to the top of only just now getting it online. So Soma in a very commanding position in this game, currently even on supply more or less.
Yeah, and this is even worse than I imagined it originally. I thought that Mini was going to get out on the map and Soma was going to have to defend in those 2 naturals, but as it stands, it looks like Mini not even going to be able to get out here. He's going to try and find an alternate route with a big concave here at his natural. He needs to find some other way to get out on the map, and it's going to be through this tight little area here at the 3rd base. That's a long rally to get your units to go from the gateways all the way over to this left side and then out onto the map. That's kind of a lot of work. Honestly, for Mini, he'd love to come out of this natural, but there's quite a few lurkers here, and Soma ready to fight for that spot there.
Yeah, a little bit of a skirmish storm going to be coming out from Mini, trying to get some damage blanketed onto those Hydras before he can set up. But with these lurkers on the on this high ground and into this choke, it's going to be really tough for him to attack up into that, because it's a very narrow corridor for him to squeeze his units into. He might even have to get Overlord sight range to help protect his observers from being sniped as he tries to break these positions. Looks like Soma are also going to be killing the gases on the right hand side of the map, denying any counterplay on the vertical axis. So really stellar stuff from Soma, kind of locking Mini into this 4 base setup while he himself takes this base at the 9 o'clock and 6, kind of putting himself all the way up to 6 base production, staying 2 bases ahead of the Protoss and ahead of the tech curve as well.
Yeah, and with this containment being set up here, Soma just goes ahead and snags double expansions. He's going to be spreading himself very thin all over the map, but there's only a few locations that he really needs to defend right now. Everywhere else he has vision. He sees the entire map. That's Sauron Zerg, the Eye of Sauron here, once again just covering everything out on this map. He's gonna come forward. He's gonna catch a bunch of these Corsairs, dealing quite a bit of damage to them. He does need to retreat though now with the Corsairs in hot pursuit. More Scourge do come up and shove these back once again. Still 6 do remain, 5 now, and the Mutas, it looks like they all will go down. However, I think that was still a decent trade for Soma, who's now trading in his units for more and more lurkers, adding on a ton more Hydras. A drop is going to come out here for Mini. This could be that drop opportunity that he needs to maybe get out on the map and deal some damage, slow down Soma, who's growing exponentially at this point.
Yeah, he's actually setting his DTs down like he wants to expand down there. It's actually kind of odd what he's doing right now. Like, I don't know if he thinks that Soma has taken this base or what, but right now Soma pushing into the northwest quadrant with a lot of speedlings and cracklings to try and do as much damage as possible before Mini can reinforce his position. There's just pure Dragoon here right now that doesn't trade too cost efficiently with this Hydroling setup. The Lurker won't be doing a lot of work here, but it doesn't matter. As long as there's enough cracklings being rallied over here, you can start cleaning up this Protoss infantry before Mini can combine his armies. It looks like Mini, too busy trying to make a play on the right side of the map, is now not going to be able to reinforce this top left side enough, and that's going to be really punished by Soma. Soma's going to be locking down this aggression long enough that he can just come in here and kill this expansion. Meanwhile, Mini trying to make a play on the right side still, but not really getting much done.
Yeah, not really getting much done. You can see the difficulty of reinforcing this position. All of Mini's army got stuck trying to go through the top side of the map. Now it's all spilling out here towards the natural. It just wasn't able to move. He wasn't able to reinforce that direction. So Mini taking a huge loss there in the top left. He has lost that base, but look at these DTs actually in the main and natural, killing a ton of drones, and he's going to simultaneously be taking this base here at 3 o'clock. Good moves by Mini to try and get something back after that big loss there. Oh my god, what is he doing?
Well, that's got to be a
Holy.
mistake there. He's trying to send his units to the 12 o'clock, and the pathing on this map is not very good at all. You have to do a lot of manual pathing to get your units to go where you want them to go, and unfortunately, Mini kind of got a little bit punished there for assuming his units would go to the direction he wanted them to, and they instead just walked into a lurker field and took a lot of free damage from those Terranian spies of those lurkers, unfortunately for him. And like you said, he is expanding on the 3 o'clock, so he's kind of attacking and defending on the vertical axis like he probably should be, but he did lose that top left base for it, so still Soma in a very great spot with these bases starting to come online now.
Yeah, he's picking off a bunch of overlords, but he's also seeing the state of the situation here. The state of the game right now is not looking good for Mini. He sees all of those bases in the bottom left, all this production that's been being had by Soma right now, and he's not really able to kill any base. Just killing off a few drones here and there is not going to be enough to stop this steamroller that is Soma. He's been rolling straight through this entire lineup, and he's going to continue rolling here if Mini doesn't put something together soon.
Yeah, the DT has been going to work at the 6 o'clock, has killed a Spore and a few Sunkens, but not really anything significant. Like, Soma's currently like 40 supply ahead of him, probably way more drones, a way better managed army composition to deal with what Mini is fielding right now as well. Soma has everything going for him. He's playing like an absolute monster today, saying, there's no way Mini's going to win this game. It's just absolutely impossible for him from this position. Unless somehow Soma like slipped into a coma or something, I don't think he's going to be taking this game anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that Soma has the option to maybe attack into the top left or the top right. He might go for the main. He might go for this fresh base. So far, he's just setting up lurkers here in the front, pushing forward slowly, eating a lot of storms, but these are storms being thrown down on just single lurkers, one at a time. That's not the greatest use of that storm, and there are so many units behind this that as soon as those storms run out, a giant flood of units will be able to come over here and consume this top left of the map. Now, if Mini manages to hold here and he gets both these bases in the top left, maybe there's a hope for him, but it's a small hope. It's a hope that I wouldn't bet on. Absolutely, the odds here are against Mini at this moment.
Yeah, the one thing he's got going for him is the geometry of these natural chokes, so he can storm quite efficiently, but the odds are still against him, and it's looking pretty bleak. Here come the Lurker and Ling Flood now. Soma pushing forward. He needs God-tier storms. He can do it. It's theoretically possible to get, beautiful storm on the 2 packs of Lings. He can actually clean up these attacks fairly cost-efficiently. The problem is that it's like the Eye of Sauron staring back at him, even though he's going to be able to clean up very cost-efficiently. It doesn't quite matter. Soma can trade at a cost deficit right now. It doesn't matter if he's trading at a 35-40% cost efficiency. That's more than enough to deal with the army that's being fielded by Mini right now with the production that's behind us for the Zerg players. So it's going to be really tough for Mini to hold on here. Soma going to be moving in with more and more units, now supported by the Defilers. There's only like Dragoons and Archons remaining, so this Dark Swarm is actually going to be a lot of value for these Lings going in here. Once he starts cleaning up the rest of the Zealots, there's going to be no damage coming out underneath this Dark Swarm. And the Lurker's now going to be containing this choke yet again. It's going to be a nightmare situation for Mini. I can't imagine the emotion he's feeling right now. He must be so frustrated in this game set.
Yeah, he's falling back and back and back. It seems like he's finally fixed his rallies here so that his units will actually get over to reinforce his position, but a big plague on all these Dragoons. The Archons have all dried up. There's only a few Templar left, and the waves of Ling and Lurker are non-stop here for Soma. Wave number 10 is this, just continuously hitting this top left-hand corner, and I think this is the moment when Mini breaks. He's about to lose this base and most likely gonna tap out of this game.
Yeah, he wants to take it all the way. GG, looks like Soma wants to get that prize money. He's eyeing up light now. He wants to go all the way in this series zone.
A sad day for Protoss once again. Soma finishing him off. Mini is eliminated, and Protoss is out of this week with KCM. You know, Soma didn't kill Sin, so he's not going to get the all kill prize just yet. He still has to take down Light. That's going to come up in our next game. It all comes down to this. Light in the bottom right-hand corner versus Soma in the top center. We are on Neo Sylphid for this potentially final game of this week of KCM, guys. Now that I've got you here, I want to ask you politely to please go ahead and subscribe to Shun's channel. I will put the link in the description down below. He's been streaming like a madman on YouTube, and he puts out some fantastic content. Sometimes I'm in there as well. You can catch me playing some games, doing some practice for NSL and that, and it is just an altogether great time, so definitely check that out. But here is our ZVT, the god of today, Soma. Can he be taken down by Light here? He is just on such a hot streak right now.
Oh, he's playing absolutely on fire. Like, the ground is blazing in his wake right now. So it's absolutely insane, the form that he's on. It's almost like he's treating this like it's ASL, the way he's playing. He's really on form, really stellar, really sharp, macro on point, everything to a T, crossing all his eyes, crossing all his T's, dotting all his I's. Light's gonna have to play like a god himself to have any chance at taking down the beast that is Soma. We are on Neo Sylphid of all maps, a map so suited for Mutalisk play. It's amazing. So I think we're pretty much going to be seeing, we're going to be seeing a 2-hatch all in Muta play coming at us Soma, and rightfully so on this map. Like, I can't blame him. This is the perfect map to go 2-hatch all in Muta, and Light is going to be feeling the pressure from start to finish in this game here soon.
Yeah, this position as well for the Terran is really difficult to hold on against the 2-hatch Muta. The mineral patches are directly up against that wall. The sort of gap behind them can be severely abused. Also, the position between the main base and the natural here, that sort of high ground, and at the bottom of the mineral patches there is very hard to defend. All the stars have aligned here for a fantastic Mutalisk game right now from Soma, and he's been playing out of his mind. His control has been second to none. He's getting his second base running here. There should be a Spire being thrown down in just a moment. Light gonna scout everything out here. He's looking for this Overlord down in the bottom left. He's trying to get creative to find a way to slow down Soma here, but Soma already preempting that move. He's going to be sending his Overlord all the way to the left, getting it on top of some high ground here shortly.
Yeah, this is a very, by the way, very astute observation about the geography of the map. That's exactly why this is a really great map for Mutalisk play, and Soma is going to be having those Mutalisk approximately 25 seconds to 30 seconds sooner than usual. So it's really scary timing for the Terran. He's going to have to make a lot of cuts in his own build order to be able to deal with this aggression from Soma, and wasn't able to put on any pressure. Look at these speedlings from Soma. He knows that there is a chance that there could be some pressure put onto him. Instead, he's going to do a little bit of a timing of his own. He's going to try and pounce on top of these Marines right before medics. And if he can, that's going to reduce the bioforce that's able to deal with these Mutalisks. Ooh, looks like Light's kind of sniffing that out a bit. He is trying to bait out the bio to try and shave off one of these Zerglings at a time, because what Light would want to do is try and pick off one Zergling at a time to try and reduce the link count so he can put on pressure. So he's going to be baiting out Light onto the map with these Zerglings while the rest are waiting in the wings, try and pounce into this bioforce, to try and reduce this bioforce before the mutas are even relevant.
Yeah, he's tempting him here, running back and forth. Light is not taking the bait just yet. He's got one medic. He's going to wait for a second. That is a great move here, because I think this number of lings could definitely reduce the Marine count here, if not win outright the battle with only one medic in that army. Now with two and a third and an extra Marine popping out, I think he's okay to start moving forward now, but the mutas are already popping and on the way. He needs these turrets to finish, and he needs to not take any damage from these lings. before the Mutalisk arrive here.
Yeah, Light knows the timings with the scan of exactly what he's facing now, and he understands exactly what he's going to be up against. And he made that third medic. He knows he's going to need a lot of medic energy and a lot of stim to be able to fight this. He's in position, set up in a little bit of a square formation, ready to scan one Mutalisk. So one Marine going to be shaped up by the Mutalisks already. So Light in a little bit of disarray, needs to stabilize right now. There's a lot of production coming out of the Zerg. Just pure 2-hatch production of Mutalisks going to be coming across the map. The Lings going to be coming into support, getting on top of this fire force. Great surface area of the Lings. Going to be getting on top of all these Marines. Beautiful target firing though onto those Mutalisks. Going to be shaving off a lot of those as well. So now down to only 3 Mutalisks. Did kill quite a lot of those Mutas. So actually quite a good trade for Light considering, but it doesn't matter as long as the fire force is reduced enough so they can keep the pressure on. They're going to be swinging into main base. Beautiful turret formation in the main and on the barracks though. So far Light doing a great job of stabilizing. If he can keep producing enough fire force to keep reinforcing these positions of the turrets, it will be really hard for Soma to come in here. But there is a chance that Soma could come in with some more Lings if he does keep losing his Marines, and the Lings will start to go to work on these turrets while the Marines are distracted into the main base. So Soma's still going to be putting the heat onto Light here, but I think so far Light has done a pretty good job of weathering the storms there.
Yeah, he has indeed, and he's got some buildings down there in the main base. I'd love to see what he's adding on right now. Is it a factory? Is he going to be adding on more barracks here? Ling's going to run right up and start to kill this turret. He does get the one turret, and will start to harass these SCVs, opening up that path to the harassment there. Is a big deal. He can hit any of these upper patches. Any of the SCVs mining there are under threat now. The supply depot being punished. It's out here in the front to hold off these Lings, but now it's going to be a good target for him. He's diving in once again, dealing a bunch of damage to these Marines, but the Marine force still standing strong here. Gonna add on a few more turrets, and the Mutas are sort of pushed back, although they will be dealing some more damage. Whoa, 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 where's that Marine going? You cannot be losing Marines for free during this attack. It is incredibly tight to the wire right now. You just can't afford to lose anything. He's even going to add on a bunker here, it looks like, because of the precariousness of the situation.
Yeah, the only thing keeping Light alive right now is this tight turret formation that he can repair with the SCVs if Soma tries to dive in. He is going to be adding on more and more turrets. There's currently 3 turrets sitting on the racks. He's going to slowly be adding on 1 turret at a time. Also now built a bunker, which will help shut down the Ling counterattacks into the natural. We're going to be having a little Valkyrie switch as well. Armory is on the way, so this is going to be putting a little bit of a block on Soma's aggression. He's going to have to come in here and do something soon. 4th turret also going to be coming down to melee, swinging around to the 6th block side of the map so that he can get into the other side of the natural, so that he can now pick apart the Bioforce without turret support. Soma can actually trade all the bio off here and really start to put Light to task. He's going to start sniping off some of these medics too, so actually really bad news for Light. He kind of made a bit of a mistake trying to engage those Mutas outside of the coverage of his turret, so unfortunately for him now, Soma going to find a little bit of damage. He is ready to repair this turret at the south side of his CC, but he's going to be maybe losing this armory.
Preemptively pulling the SCVs there to surround the turret. That's not something you often see out of Terran players, but it's such a strong move in these type of situations when the Zerg is desperate to get some damage done. They need to kill turrets. They need to get on top of this production and really keep reducing that over and over and over again. If you keep these turrets alive, it's just going to sandbag this push long enough that you can get into your Valkyrie play and actually shut this down permanently, and he's very close to getting this out. He loses the armory though, maybe only able to produce 1 Valkyrie unless he already had another one queued up.
It's really hard for him to queue up Valkyries at this stage of the game because Valkyries are so mineral heavy. They cost 275 minerals and 125 gas. They're very costly to use. Oh, he did have another one queued up. Okay, so he managed to just barely squeeze out enough reach. I think he cut Marine production temporarily to make sure he could queue up the Valkyrie, so it does allow him to make the 2nd Valkyrie that he desperately needs. But there is Scourge currently out in the field, so if he does catch these first 2 Valkyries with the Scourge, that would be big news for Soma going forward. He will be having to rebuild that armory before he can produce any more, but there is quite a sizable Bioforce here with this Valkyrie, so he should be able to protect it. He might as well enough. Good target fire on that Scourge. It doesn't connect. Only one of the Scourge gets a GG from Soma. Amazing play from Light, shutting down that all kill.
Shuts him down and continues our series. Our hero has arrived. Light managing to keep this week of KCM alive. At least 1 more game to be had, possibly more. Maybe he goes all the way. Before we started this game, I predicted a reverse sweep for Light. It's still a long way to go here. Still Solki and Jaedong waiting in the wings, but the return has started. The reverse sweep has begun. Can Light pull it off? He defeats that major hurdle, Soma, getting knocked down. He's not going to get the all kill this week. Better in luck next time here, Soma. It's Light's turn to shine coming up in our next game. Heartbreak Ridge going to be our next map, with Solki spawning here in the right hand side, Light in the left. The final Terran hope, and our final hope for getting a Jaedong game here. All he needs to do is just take down Solki. Please, please, Light. We want you to do it. We want to get that Jaedong game in. And he is going to start off with a barracks in the front and 8 racks for some pressure here.
But it is a 9 scout. And this is one thing that I used to love doing on this map, is the 9 scout, because you can really punish an 8 Rex on Heartbreak Ridge with a 9 scout, and if he does identify it right away, it's going to be a little bit of a nightmare for Light to have to deal with. It's really, really smart and intuitive play from Soma. You can make a lot of Terrans just rage quit at this point. There's the second SCV that can cancel building the supply depot to come up and help this, try and make sure this gets online. It's going to be a little bit annoying. He's already taken a lot of damage to the SCV. We've already reduced to about 20 or so hit points. Going to have to retreat away. It's slowing down this 8 Rex, and that's not a place you want to be. But luckily, like, you did have another SCV coming on the way, so we'll be getting this 8 Rex out barely on time. But it is a bit annoying for him to take this little bit of a delay in his early rush time.
Yeah, not only the delay here, but also Solki sees everything. He knows exactly what's coming. He will be able to counter it perfectly with that spawning pool coming down. I think we're going to see Light make a couple Marines and then just float down. He's not going to get any damage done with this anymore.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to be fruitless for him. We will be seeing the expansion from Solki as well after these. First few Zerglings will be coming out to make sure there's no damage going to be received from this 8 Rex, and we'll be sending his Overlord all the way down to the south of the map, making sure there's no way that any of these Overlords could possibly die. But there is actually a Marine that's going to be trying to intercept this, so Light actually being a little bit brave to come down here and does find this Overlord. We'll be getting to put some damage onto that with his Force Rifle as another Marine comes up to support, maybe kill this Overlord before any Lings come down. Solki's Lings only just now hatching, might not be able to get down here in time to save this Overlord, but they might be able to somehow get back in time to stop the Marines from getting into the safety of their wall. Look at this SCV block, did delay those Zerglings just a little bit, just a few seconds, so that maybe these Marines can get back to the safety of their wall way before these Zerglings get down there. So really intuitive play from Light, going to be taking a small lead by spy blocking Solki there.
Yeah, losing the first Overlord is so painful to any Zerg player. It hurts a lot, and it's gonna give Light the edge that he was looking for with that 8 Rax that he just wasn't able to find. And now Solki, you know, he's gone for this early pool. He's not been able to track down this SCV. It's gonna go ahead and run all the way back home. Light's seen everything. He's responded perfectly. He's killed that Overlord, and now he's in a decent position here. The lair is on the way for Solki. He will be getting into his game. A decent mid game here. Oh, popping out an SCV as well. Light really taking advantage of this map. Popping that SCV out. He's going to get a full scout once again.
Yeah, so far, like, Solki's not really, even Solki did a really great job of scouting really early on and dealing with that initially by choosing a good build order choice, but Light's really outmaneuvered him and outplayed him thus far, and with this SCV scout coming out, it's going to be great intel for him. Like, and he's pushing out with the naked Marines. There's not enough Lings to do anything to these Marines as well, so this is going to force a little bit of a response out of Solki. Maybe make another pair of Zerglings or 2 that he didn't want to have made, although he might call Light's bluff that Light isn't wanting to move out onto the map, which is probably quite true, that Light will not want to push until those medics are done.
Yeah, he's not going to come across the map here, but he is going to get this SCV in the natural. Whoa. 2 barracks here. I thought that was going to be a command center, but I think he's tricked us and Solki at this point. He cancelled this. He cancelled the
Oh
second.
no.
Oh my
He's mind
gosh.
gamed him. He's mind gamed him so much, saying Light's a beast. He is the light that he's the light that protects us from the darkness of not being able to see Jaedong play. He is our hero. He is our savior. And he's gonna make short work of this guy right now. Soki is in full-on panic mode. Uh-oh. You need 3 Sunkens to defend against this right now. And you barely have started your first 2. This is a really precarious situation for Soki. He's gonna have to somehow like play like I actually don't even know if it's physically possible for him to hold it because the stim's already done. He's gonna be rallying in it. He tries to make an evolution chamber to block. It's not gonna be enough. He's gonna get top of the first Sunken that's morphing in already. Light doing a great job of target firing. Beautiful, beautiful focus fire from Light. He's really playing stellar right now. Everything is absolutely perfect from Light. He's doing a great job of being so efficient with the damage output of these Marines, making sure he puts so much damage out on this one. GG called. Here we go. We're gonna see Jaedong versus Light.
Here it is, boys. The last game of the night. Light versus Jaedong. Thank you so much, Light, for bringing us this fantastic game. It was a hard road. Soma was on such a spree, but he shuts him down. He takes down Solki in that last one and gives us game number 8 here with Jaedong spawning in the top right-hand corner. Light in the bottom right on Dark Origin. I am so excited to see how Jaedong's going to play out this one.
Jaedong, 보고 싶어요. Sorry, I just said that I miss Jaedong in Korean. I love this guy. Seeing him play, I'm getting goosebumps right now. We're gonna see a little engineering blade block in the natural already, but it looks like a drone gonna be coming out really early on from Jaedong, sniffing out all this potential shenanigans that can disrupt his play. Gonna be just throwing down that pool first, optimizing his build order against this early shenanigans. If he didn't scout this, it'd be really annoying for him because he would have been lined up for a 12 hatch and then not be able to throw down the hatchery and have a very delayed pool, and gas timing would not be ideal.
Oh?
He misplaced it by 1 hex.
Oh my god.
He misplaced the eBay by 1. I was thinking to myself, wait, does that even block? Surely Light knows better. Like, what? What am I watching right now? Oh, he must be intimidated. This is the Donga he's fighting against right now. He's already making mistakes. It's the first minute of the game.
Unbelievable. Light makes an error that large this early into the game. Crazy Donger factory here in full force.
Wow.
Just not able to hit that and block that hatchery. He did force the earlier pool because I think that Jaedong actually looked at that and thought, oh, that actually blocks. But then after he brings down the drone, realizes that that's not blocking at all. He's still going to be in a good spot here without being blocked. His hatchery is on a perfect time at this moment. He's going to come across the map and see that Light is doing something a little bit funny right now.
I mean, Jaedong has stolen the batteries out of Light's flashlight. You know what I mean? Like, Light's gonna have to try and like turn his flashlight into a blunt instrument and try and bash Jaedong over the head with it to try and knock him out. But it's gonna be like trying to fight off a tiger with a baseball bat. I don't think he could take a few good swings, but eventually that tiger's gonna maul you, saying.
What do we have in the main base for Light? It looks like a factory there up at the north part of his base, but Jaedong already has units outside the main, and if he tries to float down here and land, he may end up getting completely shut down. He's actually going to build a vulture in the main and go to Port Wraith. Oh my god.
Spicy stuff. Can Jaedong sniff this out? He needs to identify this quick to making sure he can not take too much damage. Just if he doesn't know it's coming and he starts to lose overlords and he's just waiting on his spire timing, he will get a little bit punished for that. So everything needs to be crisp from both players right now. We see the naked Marines moving out onto the map. There's only a handful of Zerglings to deal with this, and they are slow Zergling Spire now on the way at 4 minutes 13, so a little bit delayed. And with this vulture coming out, it's going to be really hard for Jaedong to prevent too much damage. He's already slow Zerglings. Jaedong isn't made us. He has no idea about this. It's a bit of a blunder from Jaedong. He's going to get onto one of these Marines. Does pick it off. He can retreat these drones. More Lings have came out from these eggs. So there is a decent amount of Zerglings he could get on top of this Vulture. Speed is now done, gets on top of the Marines. It was a complete bait the entire time. Jaedong just going to be laughing inside as he knew the exact timing of that Vulture getting to his natural so he could go for the perfect pincer on it. Wow, Jaedong's on fire right now. I'm excited, Sam.
Yeah, this Vulture is going to be able to probably slip by here. No. Great surround there. And a lot of Lings have been produced. So, Light going to have to bring a ton of SCVs here to repair because only 2 Marines behind this wall is not going to be enough. A Vulture slipping out here on the map, but Jaedong definitely saw that and he will be able to react to it. Mutas are going to be coming out here soon. He doesn't have a sunken colony. Wait a second. Is he going to take a bunch of damage from this one Vulture? He's actually sending the Lings back home right now. I guess he didn't see that. Oh, great job with the creep colony keeping that one drone alive. But here comes the 2 Wraiths.
Yeah, the 2 Wraiths are going to be a big issue. The Spire's only just now finishing up. So it's a matter of how many Overlords and drones will go down. DPS-wise, it's more efficient to kill Overlords. So on paper, it's better to target down these Overlords for these Wraiths. So he won't actually be wanting to kill these drones. He'll actually want to snipe these Overlords. There's better damage output and it will supply block the Zerg. So it's more efficient for him to kill these Overlords first, then ask questions later, try and get out with these Wraiths now and make sure he doesn't lose them to these first 2 sets of Scourge. It's going to be crucial. Can Jaedong make the intercept? Scourge are not very intelligent units, but in the hands of someone like Jaedong, maybe he can get the connectors that he needs to block out and zone out these Wraiths from the natural area of this Terran, stopping from getting back to the safety of that bunker. He's going to start targeting down these Overlords on the left-hand side. Jaedong now coming down with these 4 Scourge. Can he make the connectors that he needs? Beautiful target for Ramona Scourge. So far, really great Wraith micro. Not going to lose on these Wraiths. Beautiful spot, beautiful play, but gets the connections from those 2 Scourge. Now Wraiths just 1 hit from those 3 Scourge left. He can kill 2 of these Wraiths if he connects 1 Scourge. Connects only 1 Wraith remaining on low HP, but Light taking minimal damage there, just losing that 1 Wraith and picking up some Scourge. Beautiful micro, I would say, from both sides.
Yeah, beautiful micro there from Light. Just keeping those Wraiths alive is so important right now. He eats 1 Scourge shot on 2 of those Wraiths, so he will have to spend some time here to repair. That's going to give Jaedong a little bit more of leeway here to get his Overlord speed out, to get his Mutalisk count up, and he's already got his 3rd base out. So as long as he defends properly here, he should be okay. I don't think he needs to go for anything aggressive right now, but he's actually sending a lot of his stuff across the map. Good spread of Lings around the map, actually catching these Wraiths as they move forward. He knows exactly where everything's at right now, just doing a good job of keeping track of Light's army movement.
And he's got these 3 bases up and running, and Light has yet to take his expansion. So as long as he keeps these Wraith count alive and starts to do some harassment now, it's going to be really great news for Light. He is starting to pick off some of these drones at the 3rd base, shutting down the mining there. That's the most minimal harassment he needs to do with these Wraiths at this stage in the game to make sure that Jaedong doesn't just get a big power production advantage over him with this early 3 bases. So far, I would say Light doing a stellar job of shutting down all these Zerglings on the map. Light is trying to snuff out the vision and light that Jaedong has out on the map, and is showing him that he's going to be the one that wields the torch and has the map control and vision in this game with this great superiority so far.
Yeah, I'd love to see Jaedong right now throw down some sport colonies. I know that pro players hate to do it. I'm not really fully in understanding of that reasoning there, because when you're on 3 base like this and your opponent hasn't even built a natural just yet as the Terran, they have to get damage done here, right? With all of these Wraiths that have been built, if you put a spore in every base, it's going to become so much harder to do that without taking losses every single time you poke in.
Oh, absolutely. And we have a very strong committal into these Wraiths. Oh, look, the Burrow comes out from Jaedong, so he's going to be having a bit more value out of these Lings, giving him some key factors of information that he needs to see the exact positioning of this Terran army at all times. We do have the Bio now coming out to support these Wraiths, and these Bio will be acting more of as a support force for these Wraiths, acting as a bit of point defense for them to retreat back to as they skirmish with the Zerg, trying to snipe off the Scourge and the Mutas with their slightly superior area range. Boat coming in does plenty of overlords with speed to stay on top of these raids. So there will be detection for the duration of this fight. He will start to lose some of these overlords if he can't make the connections that he needs. And with the Bioforce supporting from the low ground, it's going to be really hard for Jadon to come in here and challenge these raids.
Yeah, he's doing a good job so far of trading shots with the raids, but as time goes on here, Light is getting more and more free shots off. He's dealing more and more damage to this wraith, or to this Mutila's army, and he's taking control of this low ground. It looks like Jadon's going to lose this base, so he will be dropping that hatchery here pretty soon, and the wraith number is taking some damage, but it's not being reduced very much, and the mutas are constantly being picked off. The Marines are going to town here at the 3rd, and Light cleans that up. He's going to move towards the natural. I don't think he can break through here, though. He'll probably have to back off and get his next base up. Oh my god, he's losing a lot of mutas here. Only down to 4 mutas left. If all the mutas die, he could absolutely just kill these Sunkens with the wraiths, and then kill the rest with the... What? GG! Oh my god, he's done it. Light takes him down with the 2-port Wraith play. Absolutely fantastic control. The 1 base able to destroy the 3-base Zerg. Really crazy stuff there from Light. I felt like Jadon had a decent position, but the constant trading from Light was just way too strong.
It almost seemed like that the plan all along was to try and revert back to his superior Wraith mechanics. He's one of the best at it. There's no one better in the game at that Wraith control. And it's one of the reasons why he's so good with his Valkyries as well. He has a very strong understanding of that unit control. Maybe second only to Flash, and Flash is nowhere to be seen. So now it's Light holding the torch for the Terrans, leading the way.
All right, we're going to head to our score screen now. That is it, guys, for this week of KCM. Let's check out where our players are at. Here are your point rankings. Terran with 10 points, Zerg with 8, and Protoss with a flat line. 0 points on the board once again. That was another rough loss for Protoss. And by the way, Light takes home all the kill, boys. 800,000 won goes to him. Another 750,000 to the team. So he makes a smart bit of money for this week of KCM.
That's a nice little price purse for him, saying, and look at this flat line from Protoss. It's absolutely ridiculous. At this point, it's starting to look like some kind of psyop where they're kind of trying to hide their power level a bit, and like they're trying to make it seem like their race isn't as strong as it actually is.
We're on to you, Protoss. Your false flag operation, trying to get yourselves buffed. It's not gonna work. But
it's not gonna work.
I'm glad that Light was able to shake off the jitters to get the butterflies out of his stomach and pull that game together, bring us an awesome final game, and that amazing reverse sweep from him, just absolutely fantastic. But you can't forget Soma here. He played so well.
Oh, Soma was absolutely on fire today. Almost took it all the way, just barely getting shut down by Light at the end there. He attempted that 2-hatch muta all in on Neo Silvered. It looks like that Terran's been fighting with Zerg for quite some time for this #1 spot, and with this week concluded, looks like they're starting to ramp up ahead.
Yeah, there's still an opportunity for Zerg to turn things around, though. We've got 2 more weeks of regular season play, followed by a semifinal and a final. Whoever is in first place at the end of 8 weeks will get the bye into the finals. So both teams, both squads here for Terran and Zerg, going to be trying their absolute best to secure that spot, and Protoss doing their best to mess them up. that's their role from now on, is just to screw things up for either the Terran or the Zerg. There's no chance of getting that top spot anymore.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure and enjoyment to cast this week of KCM for you. We'll see you guys in the next week. Definitely check out some of our replay casts until then. But for now, see you next time.